My name is Beatrice, coming up in the next few minutes. Parliament passes tribunals bill to establish regional and district tribunals. We'll bring you updates. Also on the program this morning, teacher unions NAT, NAGRAT and PTTAG give government 1 week ultimatum to conclude negotiations on their conditions of service. Retired Supreme Court Judge Justice William Atuguba calls for integrity, humility and principled leadership in public service. And much later on the program, tomato prices soar nationwide as traders blame rains and middlemen while consumers struggle with rising cost of essential food items. My name is Beatrice. Thank you once again for joining us on the program this morning. Now, after a marathon sitting that stretched past midnight, Parliament has passed the Tribunals Bill 2026, despite stiff resistance from the minority, which boycotted the approval process. The bill now awaits presidential assent to become law. Now, the legislation seeks to establish regional and district tribunals across the country to handle specialized cases, including illegal mining, tax and customs offenses, fraud and cases involving economic loss to the state. The government says the tribunals will help speed up the prosecution of complex public interest and economic crime cases and improve access to justice. But critics have raised concerns over the timing and the need for safeguards to ensure the tribunals remain independent, and we'll bring you more in our subsequent programs and bulletins. Now, President Mahama has announced the clearance for recruitment of some 16,000 nurses to be employed in 2 batches to clear the backlog of unemployed personnel in the health sector. He, however, notes that the nurses must avail themselves to underserved areas where healthcare needs are greatest. He announced this as part of his 2-day Resetting Ghana tour of the Voto region. A report by Komla Kluche.
Mahama!
The president's first port of call was the North Tone constituency, where he cut short for the construction of a 24-hour market in Japan, noting that his priority of revamping the textile factory has yielded fruition.
And one of the things somebody asked was where we're going to get the cotton to spin. Arrangements are being made to sign a memorandum of understanding with the government of Benin to supply us with cotton from Benin to feed the factory in Ghana. Very soon, the transaction advisor is bringing the strategic investor to visit the factory and start the design for modernizing the factory.
Praised the efforts of the foreign minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who has led a strong push on the president's foreign policy. The president then moved to the Peki Training College, where he inspected the progress of work on an assembly block where the Minister of Education announced some major policy decisions.
Dramani Mahama, under his presidency, is considering establishing a national university for teacher education with Peki as the capital of that national teacher university.
He then moved to inspect the progress of work on a 177-kilometer Big Push Road from Asikuma and Nyarawa City Trinum to Ziope Road, where there are 4 lots with contractors reaching various stages of construction.
Every contractor on Big Push, except in Volta region, except the Havehohwe, is ahead of schedule currently. It will not be surprising that the first project you take over and hand over to the people as part of your dream of Big Push. 2 of them at least will be in Volta region, and that can happen before the end of the year, from Aflau all the way through Georgia.
The president noted that the Big Push has provided real employment to citizens.
It is estimated that with the current projects that we're doing, at least 300,000 direct and indirect jobs have been created. Direct are those who are working directly on the projects. Indirect are the food sellers who are selling to them, the quarries that are producing the rock for them, the filling stations that are providing them with the fuel, the cement distributors that are selling cement, the iron rod distributors that are selling iron rods. If you take all that together, we estimate that about 300,000 jobs have been created just because of this.
He then proceeded to the University of Health and Allied Sciences, where he inspected a multi-purpose laboratory project on the UHA Sokode campus. The president's final call for the day was the whole municipal hospital, where he took part in a free primary health care Durban. Health Minister Kwabena Mintara Kando expressed happiness at the success of the program, which has received the WHO attention and citizens' response. The president announced that government will continue investing in health infrastructure and providing the facilities needed to improve healthcare delivery.
Now we're giving him clearance to open the portal to absorb 16,000 nurses in 2 batches. The first batch is 8,000, the second batch is 8,000. So that by the time my daughters and sons who are waiting to complete training camp, there will be a shorter queue before they are posted. But the caveat we are giving is, most of those that we're employing now, we are sending you to underserved areas.
He then presented items to the hospital for medical care in the municipality. Komla Kluche, TV3 News. Ho.
Some more here, and a retired Supreme Court Judge, Justice William Atuguba, has called for a return to integrity, humility, and principled leadership in Ghana's public life. Delivering the Justice D.F. Annan Memorial Lecture in Parliament, Justice Atuguba paid glowing tribute to the late statesman, describing him as a model public servant whose commitment to justice and the rule of law remains unmatched.
Justice William Atuguba described Justice Daniel Francis Annan as a man of quality, dedication, principle, and integrity. He said Justice Annan distinguished himself as a lawyer, judge, legislator, and member of the executive with a strong commitment to the welfare of his countrymen. Justice William Atuguba contrasted Justice Annan's judicial record with what he described as declining standards in sections of the judiciary and parliament.
I see this parliament as standing for something else than the interests of Ghanaians. That's how I see it. Some of them are good, but others are immersed in loyalty to the party and to whoever for the time being is president, maneuvering to progress along the political ladder, irrespective of honesty, fairness, good service to the people of Ghana. But the ship of state has tilted very, very ominously. Happily, as I say, all is not lost. There are some people who are good politicians and of the mindset of Justice Annan.
Turning to politics, Justice Atuguba lamented what he described as increasing partisanship and the pursuit of political office for personal gain.
The standards set by Justice Annan, set against the happenings of today, and officialdom, and the general public, it's rather troubling. Because I think truth engenders good results. Manipulation, opportunism, maneuvering, connections. These things pull a nation down. And everybody is bound to suffer from it in one way or the other.
Justice William Atuguba urged today's public officials, lawyers, and judges to study the lives and judgments of distinguished legal figures such as Justice D.F. Annan and Justice Azukrab. He said Ghana's future depends on restoring integrity, courage, and fidelity to the Constitution.
Well, Justice Atuguba also questioned why the Member of Parliament for Korle Klote, Dr. Zaneto Ajiman Rawlings, has not been appointed as minister yet.
Somebody like Zaneto Rawlings, she's not a politician. She's a woman of the people. I've been following her activities. I don't know, I've never spoken to her, never met her. But I'm convinced that that's the kind of politician people should aspire to be. Up till now, and that's why I don't get involved in political sector. I don't know why she's not yet a minister. I hope by saying that I've not destroyed her chances. From social media, it seems there are, sometimes they even announce her as Deputy Minister of Health. I say, oh, she could even be the substantive. Then something, but I think there's something that, why not? Why not? Such a woman of principle, of dedication, of integrity. Why not?
In other news, the Trades Union Congress, TUC, has expressed strong opposition to the government's proposed re-establishment of regional tribunals. Addressing the news conference, Secretary General of the TUC, Joshua Ansa, called for the immediate withdrawal of the regional tribunals bill.
The TUC is manifestly opposed to the idea of resuscitating tribunals, given our collective bitter experiences with tribunals. The tribunals bill in its current shape and form strengthens our conviction that tribunals must be abandoned. The bill, when passed into law, can be a potent tool for weaponizing justice delivery and entrench the perception held by many that our justice system is up for grabs by the politicians. We call on the President and Parliament to heed the advice of the Constitution Review Committee, and government must halt the current legislative process of enacting the tribunals bill, expunge regional tribunals from the Constitution, and take meaningful steps to properly resource our judiciary. If law is properly seen as an embodiment of our collective historical experience, then the recent history of public tribunals must lead us away from any attempt to re-establish regional and district tribunals. The bill must be withdrawn from Parliament.
Solidarity forever for the youth.
As you're aware, the Parliament passed the bill at midnight today, awaiting presidential assent. Now, the death toll from the Konongo-Odumase accident has risen to 15, up from the 12 initially reported. 10 of the deceased are males, while the remaining 5 are females. The ghastly accident involving 3 vehicles occurred at dawn on Thursday. Reports suggest that the Ghana National Fire Service DAF-XF cargo truck with registration number AS303023 loaded with an unknown quantity of boxes of tomatoes, Tata Public Bus and DAF-XF fuel tanker all collided and near the Anglican Basic School at Odumase. 12 people died at the scene, while 44 other passengers sustained injuries. The injured were taken to the Asante Achim Central Government Hospital and Stewart Hospital for treatment. The bodies of the deceased have been deposited at the Stewart mortuary. Some more here. Cabinet's decision to restore the Achimota forest to its full protected status has been welcomed as an important step towards preserving one of Accra's most important remaining green spaces. But beyond the announcement, questions remain about the level of encroachment, development already established around the reserve, and the extent of the ecological damage caused over the years.
Cabinet has directed the revocation of Executive Instrument 144 as amended by Executive Instrument 234.
I'm happy to announce a historic Cabinet decision taken on the 24th of June 2026 to revoke Executive Instrument EI 144 as amended by EI 234, effectively ensuring that the Achimota Forest retains its original status as a forest reserve and providing ecological safety zone for Accra and its environments.
The government says restoring the forest's protected status will help preserve its ecological value and environmental benefits. The move will improve air quality, conserve biodiversity, and support stormwater management in flood-prone Accra. Environmental advocates, however, say the legal decision is only the beginning of what will be required to restore the forest.
We are happy that EI 144 has revoked, but that doesn't mean that there's not much more to be done. Much more needs to be done if we are going to rescue Ghana from the verge of an ecological catastrophe.
Restoring the protected status will not automatically replace trees already lost or address encroachment concerns. Environmental advocate Darrell Bosu says the revocation of the instrument gives the Forestry Commission greater authority to control encroachment and begin restoring degraded portions of the reserve.
It does not automatically restore the degraded areas, but gives the Forestry Commission now full powers to now control and manage encroachment on the area and take steps to restore the entirety of the forest reserve. And this is for us very, very significant. Without the revocation of EI44, there was no way the Forestry Commission was going to be able to take steps to restore the forest reserves and deal with encroachment and also all the other interests that people had in this area. So this decision eventually is going to enable them.
He also warns that weak enforcement remains a major threat to the forest.
Ghana, we have serious challenges with enforcement and compliance. And even in situations where the law is very clear as to what needs to be done, we most of the time are not able to enforce the law comprehensively. So people still get away with encroachment and also with a lot of development that eventually end up what we seek to do in respect of sustainable development. So I believe that going forward, the Forestry Commission needs to really pay attention.
The success of Cabinet's decision will depend not only on revoking the instrument, but also on preventing further encroachment, reclaiming degraded portions, and restoring the forest's ecological value.
Tomato prices have skyrocketed, with traders blaming the rainy season and the activities of middlemen. Beatrice Ajoko-Sowa has been monitoring the situation and reports.
Families across the country say they are being priced out of one of the most essential food ingredients, tomatoes. Traders deny responsibility, insisting that tomatoes are out of season and in short supply. They say a basket that once sold for 200 Ghana cedis now costs 800 Ghana cedis.
There are two types of tomatoes on our markets. I bought the one from Ghana at 4,500 Ghana cedis for a small box. The one from Navrongo is 9,000 Ghana cedis per box, and I ran at losses.
Others point to heavy rains that have disrupted cultivation, leaving farmers with little to harvest.
Most farms were flooded due to the rains, and a lot of crops were destroyed. The harvest this year was scanty, but the demands are high.
If it's not the rain, but by this tomato is there. But because of the rain, the way the rain, that's why.
Trader blames middlemen for the sharp increase in prices.
When they go, the price they sell it to them. If the price is cost too much, boys also is there. The one who go take it and put inside the car, you give them money. Then when they tear the tomatoes, all expensive, you pay the small expensive, and the lorry fare too. That's why the price is going up.
A customer, Essien, recalls buying tomatoes in the Volta region and in Sawam, saying the rising cost has become unbearable.
Yes, this too is 5 cedis from the village that I have been going. In the Volta region, somewhere around the Dabala area there, When they add a third one, you will get the same 5 cedis in Sawam. But for Kadeshi, it's just like the water price. The prices are such that we just can't afford.
Meanwhile, Janet Latte, who sells garden eggs and okra, says the high prices have persisted for 5 months, with a sack of garden eggs now selling for between 2,000 Ghana cedis and 3,000 Ghana cedis.
Because of during the rainy season, the plants get destroyed. That's why okra and garden eggs are expensive.
Even as ginger prices ease slightly, traders insist government support is vital to cushion farmers and help stabilize food prices.
25. But on 25,
a sack used to be 2,500 Ghana cedis or less, but now it is expensive. Let us patronize our own and ban the imports.
Today, a box of tomatoes sells for more than 10,000 Ghana cedis. Buckets cost between 100 Ghana cedis and 350 Ghana cedis, while just 4 tomatoes sell for 20 Ghana cedis. As these high prices persist, how much longer can consumers endure the rising cost before basic food items become a luxury? Beatrice Soa, TV3 News, Accra.
The leadership of 3 teacher unions have given the government a 1-week ultimatum to conclude negotiations on their expired conditions of service. The unions say that a meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission ended without an agreement, raising fears of possible industrial unrest if the negotiations are not concluded promptly. Labour correspondent Daniel Opoku has more in this report.
3 weeks ago, the leadership of the Ghana National Association of Teachers (NAT), the National Association of Graduate Teachers (NAGRAT), and the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana (PRETAC) petitioned the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission over delays in renewing their expired conditions of service. Among their key demands are the promotion of qualified teachers and the implementation of 20% deprived area allowance for teachers serving in disadvantaged communities. On Thursday, July 16, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission convened a meeting with the unions in an attempt to resolve the outstanding issues. However, the negotiations ended inconclusively. The Commission informed the unions that it would seek a fresh mandate from the government before returning to the negotiating table next week. The outcome of the meeting left the teacher unions dissatisfied, with leaders accusing the government of delaying the process. King Ali Audu is president of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana (PRETAC).
We are still giving the government a long rope, having diplomatic engagement with the government, speaking softly to them. But they should know that deadline ends tomorrow, and we are giving additional 1 week as they have requested today from the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. We do not want to hear different stories and the issues on the table not being tackled. If it so happens again next week, government might have itself to blame.
General Secretary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Thomas Tanko Musa, urged the government to negotiate in good faith to avoid escalating tensions.
Trust, when given to you by somebody voluntarily, you must cherish it such that tomorrow when you come speaking, the person will believe you. But where we are now, it looks like that trust is on the verge of collapsing. And when that trust collapses, then what is left will be agitations and other, means and tools for people to get what they want.
President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Jacob Anaba, says the patience of teachers across the country is wearing thin and called for an urgent resolution to the impasse.
The story we are getting is hurting because they are telling us that we are too many. So the budget cannot take it. So we have to close many schools down and sack many teachers from the schools. So we have few teachers that we can take care of. So we are asking that the president must make sure that he directs his ministers. They should do the right thing.
The three teacher unions say they remain committed to dialogue but insist that any further delay beyond next week could trigger nationwide industrial action, potentially affecting teaching and learning across the country.
That's all for News Morning here on New Day on TV3. My name is Beatrice Edu. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Do continue with us on New Day.
Akodie in there as well.
Okay.
Then there is Prayer by AEC AI. It's also in there. This one is also in there as well. There's Blacko as well. There's Joyce Blessing and Jualaka.
There's no way you couldn't have Blacko on it.
Yes, Oil in My Head. Oil in My Head is there.
Okay.
Then there's Jualaka and Joyce Blessing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also in there.
Oh, but I missed that song. Oil in My Head. Can we play that in the course of
as well. So it's a beautiful song by EL, starting us off to the Friday edition of New Day. It's been a long week. I don't know how the week has been for you.
Yeah, a mix of different things. I mean, the miracles, the Abuaji issue, then yesterday the increase in petroleum prices, and of course we had Parliament working through the night and passing.
Oh, the pricing window was actually yesterday.
Yes.
It explains.
You haven't bought fuel?
No, I did this morning. This morning around 5 a.m. when I was coming.
Okay.
I did, and the guy, I told him that when he should fill it, but when it clicks, it should stop. And I was doing something on the phone, and the guy had gone to attend to someone, and I just kept checking, and it was just running.
Yes.
And then the amount that it normally gets to that it clicks.
Yes.
It had gone beyond it and it was still running.
Yes. So I was like, this guy didn't listen to me.
Is it that the tank is very empty or?
Yeah.
But that makes sense. Oh, the fuel price went up yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, that explains it.
I fueled my own 3 days ago, and so I was like, okay.
So you were lucky. You filled it under the old price.
How long can you keep it? Even if it's to the
at least you
can't keep it for
get some 4 or 5 days.
Beyond 2 weeks, yes. So, yeah, and then...
then last night, you were talking about last night Parliament.
Yes, the Parliament staying through the night to pass the Tribunals Bill 2026. And so now it's awaiting presidential assent. But it looks like Labour is already against it. They held that press conference before the passage, though, asking for Parliament to withdraw that. And now Parliament has gone ahead to pass it. So I wonder what is going to be the next step. Are they going to ask the president not to assent to the bill? What exactly would they do? Yes, so I think it's been a mixture of different kind of issues coming up throughout this week, but I hope you've had a wonderful week.
You left out something very important.
Okay.
Two of my favorite teams are in the final of the World Cup. Yeah, Spain versus Argentina. That was also a significant highlight of the week for me.
Yeah.
I support Barcelona. A lot of our players are in the Spain national team.
Okay.
And anyone who supports Barcelona loves Messi. And Messi is with Argentina. So my two teams.
Have you heard a social media thing that FIFA favored Messi in the World Cup? I've seen a number of stories and trends on social.
I mean, look, people can make all the comments they can make, but the fact of the matter is that the English media today, they are not talking about FIFA favoring Argentina to beat England. They are calling for the head of their coach.
Oh, yes.
For the substitutions he made in the last few minutes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, I think we're all entitled to our opinion, but the fact remains that Spain and Argentina will play in the final. For once, I can watch a final and I don't really care who wins. Because anyone who wins, I'll be happy.
You'll be happy.
I'm fine with it. So, I mean, the World Cup comes to an end on Sunday, actually. So on Saturday, the third place will take place between France and England.
France and England, yes.
Yeah, it's a match that
I'm supporting France.
Yeah, but it's a game. Okay, you're obviously French inclined.
And
so.
I hope that. Okay, let me not say it.
Yeah, I mean, no one really. The third place game. In fact, the English manager even said it. He said that it's a match that no one really looks forward to playing, but you have to play it anyways.
But at least France should redeem itself with what happened in the last game. I mean, that disappointing.
There's an extra motivation for the France captain, Kylian Mbappe, because he's tied at 8 goals with Messi. Yeah. So he has the opportunity to get some more goals and perhaps be the top goal scorer for the tournament. So I guess that could be extra motivation for him.
Because honestly, I felt particularly very bad for him in their last performance. I was like, Mbappe could not have been in this game and it ended this way.
Yeah,
so
he was.
It's time for redemption, and I hope that they will prove themselves, against all criticisms.
Yes, so I mean that's one thing to look out for in terms of what has played out throughout the weekend. Coming up in the weekend, that big game will definitely be live here on TV3 on Sunday.
Oh yes,
we'll bring you the very latest. I'm sure later on when the sports team join us, we'll have a bit of conversation about this. But a bit later on the big issue, we'll delve into the issues surrounding the public tribunals bill that has been passed. We'll do a bit of historical analysis to put it in context of of why people fear the public tribunal so much. Then we'll look at bits of the clauses in the bill, what it seeks to do, how it relates to the traditional courts, and whether there is a basis for the fear that some people are expressing. In fact, the bill was passed without the participation of the minority. They actually staged a walkout after they had lost their votes to delete a clause in the bill.
Clause 4, right?
Clause 4. I mean, and the funny thing is that they wanted the clause 4 deleted. The clause 4 is what sets up the regional and district tribunals. So deleting it will mean that there's no bill really. Because all the other aspects of the bill just creates the framework to implement it. So the supervising authority, how the justices are appointed, how the other members are appointed, the qualifications. So the clause 4 was basically the essence of the bill, and that is what they wanted deleted. And once they lost that, they staged the walkout. So we'll have a conversation on all of that.
I mean, I look forward to the details of the conversation, because even when the Attorney General, if you remember, Dr. Dominic Ayine, during his vetting,
yes,
that was when he made that pronouncement, and he had to, you know, justify it, and the bits about the fears and all of that associated with the tribunals in the 80s. And I suppose that you've gone through the bill. I've gone through it from the beginning to the bottom. If you look at the introductory words, they are very intentional about dismissing all claims of abuse and fears and all of that. Even to an extent, I think there's a bit that says it will not handle human rights issues. And for me, it can only be intentional, knowing that the main accusation against the tribunals has been abuse of human rights and how people were treated under them. So I look forward to the kind of responses that would be coming in from your regular panel today, right? Ebo and the rest.
Yes. So we'll delve into that. Depending on how things play out also, there's a conversation about Galamsey in the Ashanti region. The National Security has issued some directive banning mining in the Joabin area. We'll give you a bit of details on what would have occasioned that as well. And so those are two major discussion points that you want to stay with us and watch out for. Very interesting conversations that we'll be having about the public tribunals. While you were asleep, Parliament passed the bill. I mean, our legislators working very hard for us. Then the conversation about Galamsey, which is also not going anytime soon. It's been with us for a long while now. Not too long ago, I shared a video on the social media platforms. You were in the air and
you took a aerial view.
Aerial view, yes. It was during a descent into Takoradi.
Yes.
I went to do some work there, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you would see the river that is flowing into the sea. What is it? They are all basically polluted. They are polluted. And interestingly, when we're coming back, because we were on the other side now, we realized that virtually, so those who are familiar with our water resources and stuff, the Gulf of Guinea really, you see that the Gulf of Guinea is basically polluted. Brownish. But when you look at the Atlantic Ocean now, which is beyond the Gulf, the water is clear there. And I was telling them that it's the miracle of the sea. I don't know how it works out. I mean, because of so much pollution, we keep on polluting it and polluting it, and you think that it will just keep spreading across. Maybe it is moving and we are not seeing, but the Atlantic Ocean still looked very pristine as compared to the Gulf of Guinea.
Have you seen the video of two seas coming together, and you can clearly see the colors?
There's colors,
and the middle parting.
Yes.
It's just amazing how it happens. But you know, yesterday I saw video coming from the Joabin area to an extent that city and national officials were on site, and the illegal miners were not bothered. They were actually still doing their mining whilst the officials were there.
Yeah, I mean, they know them. I mean,
and the woman, I'm trying to recollect her name, but she was saying, look, we are here, and they are not bothered. They are still going about their business, and the police officials were just, monitoring, just standing there, not abusing anybody. But really, like you said, the question is whether this is really part of the fights that would help us win this menace. I mean, this fight, as it were, against illegal mining. But
I mean, it's something to look out for. There was another statement I saw yesterday. I thought it was a bit interesting. I don't know your thoughts on it. This Yoko statement about the Wija Children Hospital.
Yes.
Yoko saying, there's been this back and forth about it was a donor-sponsored facility, really, and the concern had been that the NPP had said that it was completed, it should be open. And the NDC had taken the view that, well, it appears the price in terms of the project may have been a bit inflated, and that had left some concerns by the sponsoring agencies. Yoko arrested the contractor. They interrogated him for some days. They are now saying that they reached an agreement with the contractor for the hospital to be opened. And I mean, I'm on a page and someone was making the point that you have not seen before an investigative body announcing the opening of a health facility.
Yeah, it should have been the health minister. Yes, but I think that, well, we hope to get a lot more detail as regard, because I think when the story came out, when the people, the residents of the area demonstrated, one of the things that came out was that the contractor apparently was owed. That was what came out first, and later we had the health ministry.
In fact, the claim was that he had basically prevented the facility from being open because of the debt.
Yes, because of the debt, and then subsequently we had that statement from the health ministry detailing some of the areas or parts of the project they believed were inflated, and now. Shortly after the Iyoko interrogation, as it were, we've had this health facility opened. Yes, good news for the residents and for those who need the services from that facility. But has the debt been paid? And what is the arrangement and all of that? The understanding is that the debt has not been paid.
Yes,
so
I mean...
what transpired between the debt not being paid and we're hearing something in our ears, and the facility being open.
It's not for our viewers.
Exactly.
But, but I mean, I think to put it differently, the contractor appeared before Yoko, and after the Yoko, the matter has been resolved, and the hospital will be open. So I mean, that at least is some form of conclusion. But it does raise questions genuinely about project supervision and project implementation.
Yes.
Even we've seen it play out with a big push, the road construction, where certificates have been raised, payments have been made, the minister goes to site, and the work is basically at very low levels. We've heard conversations about how contractors execute low quality works because of an attempt to make more money from the projects, and so in the long run, it rains a little, and the road is basically washed off. And so these are conversations that, as a country, we should be having, and especially. Even in this instance, you are even lucky it is donor funded, not one that comes with repayment responsibilities and all of that. I mean, we've seen a lot of road projects that are loans, actually, loans. So you've gone to borrow money and you end up like the money that you've taken. And a classical example is the Saglemi project. I mean, the amount of money that we took out and what we've spent on, we didn't get anywhere close to the number of units. Yeah, and it's still not habitable as well. We didn't even get a number of units that we wanted. We got about a quarter of the units that we went for the loan to do. We got about a quarter of it, and the project is still not completed. It's still not habitable. There's no sewage system.
I mean, there are so many things. There are so many things that when we talk about, a lot of the time, I get ticked off and I get very upset because I don't understand why we spend. I mean, if it were our business, we wouldn't treat it like that. Any business wants to make profit and wants to have extra money to reinvest in the business to expand the business. But when it comes to monies that belong to the state, we just think that we can just spend it, and then at the end of the day, we'll have Auditor General bring us the loopholes and the infractions, and sometimes even issues. I mean, there are surcharges and all of that. We don't get to see that. Okay, this person paid this. I mean, it's just too much.
I think it's a state-sponsored conspiracy that takes place, and I say so because I have friends who are in the real estate business, and anytime you call them, you say, I'm at site. They've paid people to work, but they are at the site, making sure that quality. The 10 bags of cement that you said you are bringing, the bags are there for him to receive it. The foreman takes charge of it. When you say the cement has run out, he wants to see the work that you've done to make sure that how is the 10 bags run out when you said you're going to use 10 bags for the project. That is what we want to see play out with public funds. But like you rightly pointed out, when it's public funds, it's like nobody cares. I will say this without any hesitation at all. I don't like seeing videos of a minister going around checking on road construction. Because
they should be doing the work. And I've
so many layers of supervision that takes place that a minister... So by the time the minister gets to Dodo Pepe, so what's happening to the road in Accra? What is happening to the road in Tamale? What is happening in the road in Dabon? What is happening in Damongo? What's happening elsewhere? By the time the minister gets to Axim, what's happening to the road in
I've heard
Ekwe?
people say that, okay, why does he have to take the roads minister to get to an area and then he's criticizing those he's giving contracts to? We should be able to, or we should be sure that the people we've given the contracts to are capable and they are competent. I don't have to be there to monitor you.
Yes,
By the time I return, I should see some level of progress there.
And even at the various levels. So if you go to the assembly levels, even the roads and highways, they have departments all across the country.
Yes.
We even have the urban and feeder roads, all these parallel structures that exist. Then you still have the minister who is supposed to be in the ministry in Accra supervising policy, going around to check implementation in terms of a road that is in some village somewhere, respectfully, to check whether that road is being constructed because money has been paid.
If the person is not doing the job, let's get the person who is ready to deliver, especially when monies have been released to get the job done in our various constituencies and areas. But we did promise you that we'll be giving you a dedicated line that you can easily send your message to. And in the middle of the week, we announced our WhatsApp line. It's on your screen right now. And many of you have already sent in your messages. We'll try and read some of them even now. But reminding you, the number is 0500 516 0500 51644. So maybe we can read just about 2 or 3 messages that you've already sent in. And the first one says the majority of Ghanaians voted for the NDC to bring change and hold those who loot state resources accountable. If a tribunal court system can ensure swift and effective justice, why not consider it? Those in high positions like TUC or those whose allies may face prosecution are naturally less likely to support tribunal courts. Ghana must restore the discipline and accountability that have been lost. And please, when you send your message, add your name so we can acknowledge it properly. And of course, we'll bring you some more. Yes. You're welcome to the This Morning segment. To the This Morning segment, we're telling you that the Weja Children's Hospital has been opened now, and of course we've told you also about the circumstances surrounding the opening, especially when during the closure we heard that it had been locked and had not been handed over because the contractor was owed. Joseph Akable was telling us earlier about the statement that was issued by Iyoko regarding the opening of this facility, and he's going to be taking us through the specific words in that statement as issued by Iyoko. Joe.
Absolutely. Just to put it all in context in the words of the Economic and Organized Crime Office for us to all appreciate what exactly they intend to do and what they've been able to uncover so far about all of these all-important matters. And the good news will be that the facility is ready for use now. So let's walk you through what that statement here says. So it says the Economic and Organized Crime Office wishes to inform the public that the Weja Children's Hospital will soon be opened for public use following a successful agreement brokered between the Ministry of Health and Aweco Construction Limited regarding the immediate handover of the facility. It goes on to say that following a series of engagements facilitated by Iyoko, the parties have agreed to proceed with the handover of the hospital to the Ministry of Health to enable the commencement of healthcare services for the benefit of the Ghanaian public. The agreement has been reached notwithstanding the existence of outstanding issues relating to the project, including claims by the contractor concerning unpaid sums and concerns raised by the project's financier regarding procurement processes and related matters. In the interest of the public and to ensure that the completed facility begins serving its intended purpose, the parties have agreed that the hospital be handed over and operationalized without further delay. Iyoko is pleased that this understanding will pave the way for the commissioning and opening of the hospital, allowing children and families to access the much-needed specialized health care services. The office wishes to assure the public that its investigations into allegations of procurement breaches, financial impropriety, and other related matters concerning the project remain ongoing. The agreement to hand over and operationalize the hospital does not in any way affect or prejudice the investigations currently being conducted by Yoko. And Yoko commends the Ministry of Health and Aweco Construction Limited for placing the national interest first and for their cooperation in reaching this important resolution. So the office adds that it remains committed to safeguarding public resources, promoting accountability, and ensuring that public infrastructure projects deliver their intended benefits to the people of Ghana. So that is a statement from the Economic and Organized Crime Office into the Wager Hospital situation there. And this is a very important part of the statement because it indicates that the agreement has been reached, notwithstanding the existence of outstanding issues relating to the project, including claims by the contractor concerning unpaid sums and concerns raised by the project's financier regarding procurement processes and related
I think that's the crux of the matter.
That's the crux of the matter. So there are basically two competing points of view. First is the allegation by the contractor that there are some monies that ought to be paid that have not been paid. So that is a claim that is still outstanding, that forms the basis of his refusal to hand over the facility to government. Then the project financiers have also pointed out that they hold the view that there are some procurement issues. It's a nice language of saying that the matter, as against saying that it has been bloated basically, which is the allegation that we've heard government appointees put out directly. So it is those two competing matters which Yoko has managed to an extent, after arresting and interrogating a gentleman, reached a consensus by saying that, well, for now, hand it over, let it be opened. All the other matters still remain outstanding, will be subject to our investigation as well.
It's like what I've heard some people say happens in the military: do before you complain.
When we're in high school, it was obey before complain.
Yes. So hopefully, like you rightly said, that we are expecting the health ministry to begin giving us these details. So in the coming days, we would have the minister or any rep from the ministry bringing us a lot more clarity on where the issues stand and what needs to be done and within which time frame really, and possibly when it becomes opened completely to the public to go receive their services there. But a number of you are still sending in your messages, so perhaps we can go through some of them. This is coming from Mr. Simon Yengwa in the Upper West region, where he says, "Good morning, Akable and Beatrice. I am all for the tribunal court establishment, simply because of its anticipated fast-track nature. We have seen cases in this country travel through decades and eventually die naturally, or plaintiffs abandoning cases out of frustration. I therefore wonder what the fear is by the minority and the Labour front." And that's coming from Simon Yen in Wa in the Upper West region. And also there's a message coming in from Fakaki as well in Wa Central District. Okay, he says he's a deputy treasurer, but he says every citizen has the right to object to the president, government officials, and the act of any administration under the law. And he says that right, however, does not cover making defamatory, insulting, or abusive comments without cause. I believe he's talking about the woman who was sentenced to 1 year. And yes, a number of people are equally reacting on social media as well. Perhaps the last one I can read says, Mustafa Lowa Manyakrobo says that the Doubting Thomas and the NDC anti-oral squad, this is not about Yoko. This is about perceived crime. Okay, please, when you send us your messages, make sure that at least you talk about what we are discussing today. He's also talking about something different. But really, talking about the tribunals, we've got some further information on it.
Yes. So it was a campaign promise. But the first we need to put in context is that the Constitution actually provides for the setting up of the regional tribunals and other such tribunals that are necessary to meet the ends of justice. So that is on the basis upon which the National Democratic Congress promised that we're going to activate the constitutional provision and proceed a step further to set up the district tribunals as well. So I'll walk you through some of what we are learning from it so far. So establishment of the tribunal system in furtherance of Clause 2 of Article 125, Clause 1 of Article 126 and Article 142 of the Constitution. There is established by this Act the tribunal system, which consists of a regional tribunal, and a district tribunal. And so those are the two that is being set up. First, we need to notice that the Constitution acknowledges the existence of the regional tribunal. It adds that such tribunals that are necessary would also be established as well. So the two aspects, the second part of it says that subject to the Constitution, this act and any other enactment, the tribunal shall operate as an independent body. This is the clause 4. We've seen it reference it as section 4 because once it is passed and it's signed into law, it becomes section 4. But clause 4 at the time it was in Parliament, this is how it looks like. This is what the NPP wanted deleted completely, complaining about it. And it's why I was making a point earlier on that if this provision was deleted, it meant that the bill basically becomes useless. This is what the bill is trying to do. All other things are ancillary and ensures that the proper structure is put in place. But this is where we are in terms of the law that is setting it up there. So this is the provision proper that sets it up. And basically, it will, in terms of its composition, there will be a chairman at the regional tribunal level. The chairman has to be qualified to be nominated or appointed as a justice of the High Court. So that is the first thing that you have to take note of. The obvious difference will be that there are two other members that join the chairman to hold a hearing. And those two members may or may not be legal members. So it may include a lawyer and it may include a non-lawyer, or it may include non-lawyers at all. So it's a very different structure that will be put in place.
Yeah.
And they would have coordinated jurisdiction with the High Court as well on various offences. So some offences will be there that the tribunals will not step into those areas. And you correctly identified one of them being human rights, particularly because that under Chapter 5 of the Constitution entrusted to the High Courts. And so you can't take it off and give it to them. But there are other offences that they will be cutting across both sides. But the interesting thing to note is that there's a provision that makes the point that where a matter is before the High Court and also before the tribunal at the same time, they say the tribunal's matter will proceed. Yes. Unless otherwise directed by the Chief Justice. And that is another interesting area that is worth pointing out, because it will mean that if for some weird reason there's a case against you, it's at the High Court, and that same case ends up at the tribunal, the tribunal is to proceed to go ahead with it unless the Chief Justice directs otherwise. And so that is another area that we'll have to look at. But this is what they are setting up there, and we've heard the government explain that they want to ensure an effective justice system. They will deal with the other issues of corruption, the corruption-related offense. They will deal with issues of illegal mining as well. So it will just have basically more courts in place doing the same things. But the question now remains that the lapses, the challenges that we have with the current legal system, is the solution setting up sort of parallel structure, if I can put it in quotes, as against dealing with some of the bottlenecks that we all are complaining about. It's also another question that we can ask.
And you know, when, for instance, the lands minister announced that the Achimota forest had been reverted, I mean, that portion that was declassified as a forest reserve had been reverted back to its original state. He also did announce that some people had been arrested in line with activities on illegal mining, within the illegal mining area. And we spoke to eco-conscious citizens, for instance, and their main concern was, yes, we know that you are arresting the small fishes. Let us know the people who are behind these people who are actually in the mud destroying our environment. So hopefully the tribunals, I mean the district and the regional ones, will be dealing with the big sponsors of those who are within the illegal mining activity. That's when we know that we're seeing real results, because if you touch the real head, then you have the small fishes in the mud destroying our environment. So hopefully that should be a focus of the regional and the district tribunals to help us deal effectively, really, with the illegal mining issue that we have across the country.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's one that we have to look out for and ask all the necessary questions. So all these are matters that you can call in and share your views with us. Eventually, when we cross over to the other side and we are joined by the panel, we'll also delve into specific aspects of the law and discuss them to look at it in the context of what we can do to make it more effective and what happens to it. And the next steps, Beatrice made a point earlier on that will TUC now be asking the president not to sign it into law? It's another question to be asked, because we know that once a bill is passed, it's not automatic that it will become law until the president signs it. We know that the LGBT bill is an example. Yeah. It's been passed. I mean, it's not been signed still. It's not been
But the Speaker raised issues about how quickly it was passed in his absence and the issue of quorum and all of that, yes. Let's see how they deal with that as well. But a number of you are still, like I keep saying, sending in your messages. This is from Prince Henry Koforidi. It says, good morning, Queen Beatrice. The MPP should tell us why they are afraid of the regional tribunals. It is only criminals that will see police and be running. And so that is his message. Mustafa, okay, so I read your message already. Sherry Giovanni says, I'm happy to hear that the Weja Children's Hospital will be finally opened. This will bring a sigh of relief to children and the constituents. On the issue of the tribunals, I support the position of the minority. In as much as we appreciate lay people participating in our justice system, I do not concur to lay people adjudicating criminal matters. The government must listen to opposition views. Good morning to Mr. Felix Selom Dali. There's also a message coming from Aziz Donla. He says the regional tribunals will help the state recover and restore hope in the judicial system, because issues surrounding justice will be fast-tracked, thereby ensuring justice is achieved or served. Good morning to Professor Sherry Khalid and Alhaji Al-Hassan Bangu. And that's coming from Aziz Dola. And perhaps I would read this coming from Evans Samba Laura. He says, good morning, Beatrice. He said, look, the MPP is only jittery about the tribunal system because they know oral system has a tall list to be handled. It's more of dry bones being mentioned and the old lady starts to shout. And that's coming from Evans Ibn Samba from Laura. Thank you very much for your messages. But I know there are more within our dedicated WhatsApp channel.
Exactly, line. Yes, a lot of people are sharing their views right there. Let's walk you through some of the messages so far. So this one here says, anyone who does not want accountability is unlikely to support a tribunal system. The MPP has openly opposed its return. Politics should never be a means to enrich oneself. It is an opportunity to serve the nation. The public is aware that some MPP officials have left Ghana for the United States, while reports suggest others are also seeking to leave. If anyone has done anything wrong, they should have confidence in the justice system and allow due process to take its course. Then another message here, don't forget, if you send a message, do add your name to it. TUC is just interested in opposing anything good for the country. They should give us a break. That is another message that we've received on the portal. We can move on and do some other message. Well, this one is providing some information to National Services, saying that personnel keep deducting our money, the 715, without our consent. Please help us. We are dying. This message will be forwarded to the newsroom. They'll look into this deduction that you are making reference to and see what exactly is that as well. So good morning. It is good to hear that the facility will soon be open for Ghanaians to use moving forward, referring to the Weja Hospital, Children's Hospital, I guess. Another message here, the reason why construction supervisors aren't able to do proper supervision well is because of the bypassing that happens behind the supervisor's back. That is coming from Engineer Rauf. Good morning, Beatrice. I'm Sir Jake from the Kuapim Mountains in the eastern region. Please, what is the problem of the minority by working out, I guess, of the chamber, you mean? Because of passing a bill of public tribunal, are they afraid they'll be caught up in the tribunal court? When they go contrary for the purpose of the court, what are they afraid of? They should stop making noise in the ears of Ghanaians, for we know better now. Very good initiative, TV3. At least those of us who for some years now can't reach TV3 by phone can send messages. Thank you, Pa Ken Adenta. Yes, it's a dedicated line for you to send in your messages during all segments of the show. This one is a bit of a long one. You said that this morning you find yourself asking a question that affects countless hard-working employees. When an employee underperforms, employers are quick to enforce KPIs, issue warnings, or even terminate contracts. Performance is measured, scrutinized, and acted upon without delay. But what happens when the employee is exceeding expectations, meeting targets, delivering results, yet goes months without being paid? Who holds the employer accountable? Who speaks for the employee who continues to show up every day, work with professionalism, and fulfill their responsibilities despite the financial and emotional strain? There must be accountability on both sides of the employment relationship if employees are expected to meet their obligations. And so That message continues over there. Summary, please.
Yes.
Summary.
But that's a critical point and issue
Yes.
he's raising there.
My advice would always be to pay attention to your employment contracts. A lot of the time, there are standard contracts that are brought and you just sign them.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, the contracts have provisions for them to exercise that kind of authority over you. They have no provisions for your bonuses and what you're entitled to if you do exceptionally well, and what happens when they are delaying the performance of the obligations of the employer. And we just sign them because they are basically standard contracts. So that is something that we all need to look out for. Some more messages. If we Ghanaians really want this nation to progress, we have to ignore the NPP. James Akuribila from Agona Ashanti, you sent that one. And good morning, everyone. Supervision of road projects is very important. I believe the minister should instruct all MMDCs to actively monitor all ongoing road projects in their municipalities and districts. Most contractors are too relaxed and do shoddy work because nobody is watching them. When MMDCs supervise closely with the community, we'll get quality roads that will last, especially in flood-prone areas like Keta. Let's demand accountability in road construction. Philip Abuchi from Keta, you sent that one there. This one, good morning, New Day team. My concern is if anyone being contractor or appointee who does anything contrary to what is expected should be dealt with. They shouldn't wait till the end of their tenure for another set of people to reveal their ills, wrongdoings, should be punished immediately. And thanks.
And there's Dr. Della Glover from Keta. He says, when #oral is not oraling, you shout oral is dead. But the moment it starts knocking at your favorite door, suddenly it's tomorrow is pregnant. Time will tell. Let's give it some time. The table will turn. Power is transient. If you like, the table can even the table can even somersault, or you can even backflips it. Who cares? The hypocrisy is loud. And
you know what a backflip is?
Which one is that?
This way. I used to do it when I was younger, but
I see.
Right now I can't. I can't
you are not old that much.
I'm older than doing a backflip now.
Good morning, Team New Day. We're not serious as a country where we almost all the time monetize crime. We are not going anywhere with the way we're doing things. Who doesn't know the police is a menace on our road every morning, taking 2 to 5 cities? I am Jedi from Takwa. In my opinion, the tribunal system is a good cause and should be embraced by Ghanaians, as it will ease the pressure on our courts and reduce the duration of justice delivery. And is it Jaiten Sunwai Odumase? Good morning. I think the renewal of the tribunal law will be good for the country. And that's coming from Nuruddin. He says he's inside Tamale in the northern region. Good morning, madam, please. And Bernard doing the listening live at Dwabin, Ashanti region. I'm enjoying the show. More fire. Thank you very much, Bernard. He said, we need the tribunal courts. The minority should have been there to pass it. Al-Hassan Said from Wa, Upper West region. And this one coming from Isaac from Russia, Ghana. Good morning, Akable and Beatrice. The tribunal issues must be implemented so that sanity and discipline will come back to our society. Where is Russia in Ghana? Do you know where Russia is?
They said the Dansuman area, right?
Oh, it's within the Dansuman area. I see.
Yeah. There's Germany too somewhere.
Oh, really? Good morning, please. Okay, yeah, we have American House in East Legon.
There's Washington at Medina, so there's Washington.
I don't know why we give these names to our communities.
Washington.
Okay, and there's good morning, please. I'm talking about the tribunals. Those thieves know what will happen to them. That's why they're opposing the tribunals. Why people fear the tribunal court, especially the opposition MPP, by Napoleon in Tumu, Sankofa base. There's another message. It says, good morning, please. To me, the government contracts are too many on one contractor, so they should relook at it and do something about it. That's coming from Ayiku Hagan. Well done, Parliament, for passing the tribunal bill. You didn't add your name, or I don't know whether it's from the same Ayiku. And there's this message coming from Vincent Kwesi Avuto, South Tong District, Says, good morning, Beatrice Edu. My heart is with the opening of the Wager Children's Hospital. It's important the media gives the public on the opening of the hospital. It says equally is the importance of the establishment of the tribunals to check corruption by speeding up the trial of corruption cases. The TUC is dancing to the tune of the minority, especially when the MPP and yet putting pressure on the government to get corrupt officials tried quickly. And like I said, it's coming from Vincent Kwesi Avuto, Southern District of the Volta region. But always would, okay, so this one, good morning, Beatrice and Akable. See how your Akable is spelled. I suggest, it's like Akabo. I suggest if you could do a 20-minute show on health issues and any other professional issues before the big issue today. It's also my birthday. I'm Chief Inspector Charles Kweku Azaso of Kaswa Police. Happy birthday to you, Chief Inspector. We wish you all the best for the day and the year ahead. We will always remind you that you can pick up your day the Milky Way with the rich, smooth taste of peck milk shortcake. It is always pure delight. Find them in all grocery shops by you. And when we come back, we'll bring you the big issues, sports, and some more. Do stay with us.
Right. Thank you for staying with us here on New Day on TV3. It's time for the big issue, and we'll start up the conversation by looking closely at the public tribunals bill that has been passed. Yes, when you went to bed last night, it was passed. If you are a late sleeper, you are awake, then you may have seen that it was passed by Parliament sometime after midnight, some few minutes after midnight, actually. But the discussion started in the early parts of the day, where the conversations around the bill and all the issues came up quite strongly. I mean, it's important to put it in context. And in fact, the memorandum that accompanies the bill itself, the explanatory notes that is attached to the bill itself, acknowledges the historical antecedents, some of which are very problematic. I mean, the bill, if you read that part of it, it makes reference to the fact that tribunals were initially established under the Public Tribunals Law 1982 and subsequently modified by the Public Tribunals Law 1984. That is the PNDC Law 78. The tribunals established under these laws included the National Public Tribunals, Regional Tribunals, District Tribunals, and Community Public Tribunals. They were prominent under the Provisional National Defense Council regime. However, the Community Public Tribunals were accused of human rights abuses and were widely criticized for undermining the rule of law and due process. In fact, it got to the extent that the Ghana Bar Association at a meeting passed a resolution barring its members from appearing before the tribunals. And that matter ended up in court because a member of the association, Thomas Nyaku Ward-Brew, sued the Ghana Bar Association, challenging its authority to bar members from appearing before the public tribunals. And the High Court actually agreed with him that the GBA was wrong to have issued that directive. So that is the case of Ward-Brew versus Ghana Bar Association number 2, 1993-1994, 2 Ghana Law Report at page 518. And the conference that took place was actually in September of 1982, where the GBA passed a resolution that members of the association in private practice will not appear in their professional capacity before the public tribunals established under PNDC Law 24 as well. And so that is what happened in the PNDC era. Subsequently, when Ghana transitioned into the democratic regime or the current constitutional regime, we kept it as part of the provisions. And I'll share that provision with you a bit shortly. But eventually, they faded out because people were not being appointed to man the regional tribunals. And so they virtually became non-existent. And what this bill seeks to do is to activate it, in the words of the Attorney General, and also additionally set up the district tribunals as well. So that is the trajectory of where we have come from. And some of these concerns have already been raised. Interestingly, yesterday in the afternoon, the Trades Union Congress actually held a news conference where they urged government and the Parliament, for that matter, not to pass this particular bill.
And firstly, opposed to the idea of resuscitating tribunals, given our collective bitter experiences with tribunals. The tribunals bill in its current shape and form strengthens our conviction that tribunals must be abandoned. The bill, when passed into law, can be a potent tool for weaponizing justice delivery and entrench the perception held by many that our justice system is up for grabs by the politicians. We call on the President and Parliament to heed the advice of the Constitution Review Committee, and government must halt the current legislative process of enacting the tribunals bill, expunge regional tribunals from the Constitution, and take meaningful steps to properly resource our judiciary. If law is properly seen as an embodiment of our collective historical experience, then the recent history of public tribunals must lead us away from any attempt to re-establish regional and district tribunals. The bill must be withdrawn from Parliament.
Well, shortly after telling Parliament to withdraw the bill, Parliament began consideration of the bill. And what does the bill seek to do? So it creates various structures. First, there is a regional tribunal. Overall composition would include the Chief Justice and one chairman. The Chief Justice is basically a member of all the courts, just to put that in context. Then there's one chairman who must qualify as a High Court Justice, and panel members who may or may not be lawyers designated by the Chief Justice. And so the cases are heard by the chairman plus at least the 2 panel members as well. And it has concurrent jurisdiction with the High Court over Chapter 4 or Part 3 offences under the Criminal Offences Act, Act 29, offences under the Narcotic Control Commission Act, Income Tax Act, the Customs Act, the Minerals and Mining Act as well, economic fraud, loss of state funds, and other offences and state that Parliament may by law prescribe. It has High Court powers and sentencing range. If you disagree with the decision of the tribunal, you appeal at the Court of Appeal. They are also bound by the Court of Appeal decision and the Supreme Court decisions as well. Then it sets up the district tribunals. The chairman must be qualified as a circuit court judge and also includes panel members who may be lawyers or may be non-lawyers designated by the Chief Justice to handle various cases as well. Sitting MPs and political office holders are barred from serving as chairman of either tribunal, and the chairman is appointed by the president on the advice of the Judicial Council. Panel members appointed by Chief Justice in consultation with the regional coordinating or district assemblies. The retirement age is 65 for regional tribunals, 60 for the district tribunals, and the removal follows the Article 146 process that we are all familiar with because of what transpired not too long ago. And so that is generally a bit of what it seeks to do. I mean, as the discussion goes on, we'll deal with specific aspects of it. But after the TUC call, consideration took off in Parliament, and when they got to Clause 4, is where the stalemate basically occurred. I mean, the minority in the House, led by its leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, took the view that that clause should be deleted. That is the clause that basically creates the regional tribunal and the district tribunal. So if he had called for a vote, and if it had been deleted, it would have meant that the bill will be passed by the district tribunal, basically. It's the provision that brought about the tribunal. And so I want you to listen to Alexander Afenyo-Markin as he argued on the floor of Parliament why he believes that clause 4 should be deleted.
I contend that creating this new tribunal system by this provision, Mr. Speaker, will bring chaos to the justice delivery system we have in our country. Mr. Speaker, this is populism. We need clarity. Justice must not just be done, must be seen to be done. Mr. Speaker, I remember the famous case of Tagore and Issa Abbas, where the respected Dr. Dominic Ayeni took the matter up at Court of Appeal. These were individuals who were convicted. And at the Court of Appeal, his argument was that a man may not just be convicted because of his own words. That is populism. He argued. He said every element of a crime must be proven. Lead evidence of probative value. That was the argument of the respected Dr. Ayeni. It was because we had a clarity, certainty in the law. We had a Court of Appeal well properly constituted. Today, you want to have a tribunal? A tribunal. Populism, Choboy justice. Choboy justice. Mr. Speaker, Choboy justice, where people will be sent and people will be thrown into jail. Mr. Speaker, I will not sit here as a minority leader and allow this provision to stand. I move that people move.
The Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayeni, provided some responses to the points that have been raised by Alexander Afenyo-Markin, after which the matter was put to a vote. Let's listen to the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayeni.
These things are textually incorrect as far as the Constitution is concerned, because as you yourself drew his attention to the provision in Article 126 of the Constitution, and 142, but let's start with 126. It provides an integrated judicial system that includes regional tribunals, and that also includes such lower courts or tribunals as Parliament may by law establish. And Mr. Speaker, this is exactly what we are doing. In terms of the regional tribunals, what we are doing is just simply amplifying the provisions of the Constitution in 126 and 124. In terms of the district tribunal, what we are simply doing is implementing 126 by creating a lower tribunal that will deal with criminal matters that have been specified in the bill, including those of illegal mining. So, Mr. Speaker, we are not creating a parallel justice system. We are simply amplifying what is provided for in the Constitution.
So the House had to take a decision, basically. So first was the voice vote, and I'm reading from the notes of our parliamentary correspondent, Christian Yale, who shared this with me late in the night after everything had transpired. He said it came down to a voice vote first. The minority lost. They then called for a head count. That was around 4 to 5 p.m. The majority leader called for suspension of the House. After 5 hours of suspension, the House resumed proceedings. At this point in time, the majority had equipped up their members. More numbers had come into the House for the head count. The minority then raised another concern that the presiding officer must rule on whether the new members who had just joined could partake in the head count since they were not around during the head vote 5 hours earlier. The speaker ruled against the minority in that particular instance as well. Then after the head count, these were the results. The minority, 16 members present, voted against that particular clause, voted for the clause to be deleted. Then the majority, 135, majority MPs, 134, including the first deputy speaker, 135. And so that is how things panned out. Then once the clause 4 was dealt with, it meant that it remained, the consideration continued. Sometime around after 11 p.m., they had completed with the entire consideration of the bill. Then the bill was passed by Parliament. And so that is how things played out yesterday in Parliament. And that is what will be engaging our attention this morning. Just a lot of information just to put everything in context as we begin the discussion this morning. Joining me in the studio to help us with the discussion, Austin Bracco Powers is a legal practitioner. He's right next to me. Leonard, good morning. Thank you for joining us as always. Also joining us in the studio, Ebo Bachman. Ebo Bachman is Deputy Communications Director, Deputy Director of Communications for the United Party. Ebo, good morning as well.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Fad Osman is with the New Patriotic Party Communications team. Thank you. I think this is the first time joining us on a Friday. Good morning. Yes. Deputy Director General for Operations for the National Service Authority, Don Kofuseni, who joins us once a while. he appears and disappears and he comes back again. Mr. Kofuseni.
Honorable feels like joining the joins.
Once a while he appears and he disappears. Good morning.
Really
thank you. Okay. When we invite him, you come.
That's the right way.
That's the right way. Okay, when we invite him, he comes. Once a while we invite him and he comes. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let me start directly with Fad just opposite me. And I want to start off from where the Attorney General ends. And the Attorney General references the constitutional provision, Article 126 of the 1992 Constitution. It's titled Composition and Mode or Exercise of the Power of the Judiciary. And one says the judiciary shall consist of A, the superior courts of judicature comprising I, the Supreme Court, II, the Court of Appeal, and III, the High Court and regional tribunals. Now, the B of that provision says such lower courts or tribunals as Parliament may by law establish. Now, the Attorney General makes the argument that the Constitution provides for this. It provides for the regional tribunal directly. It now says that they may by law add on to the tribunals. They are adding the district tribunal by virtue of the Public Tribunal Act. What is this hue and cry about Chobwe justice, which your leader references?
All right, thank you very much, my brother. First, let me use the opportunity to say good morning to my brothers here. It's been a while. And to our viewers, and also to the leader of my party, His Excellency, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Baumia, and to the former Attorney General, His Honorable Godfrey Dame. Godfrey Dame, good morning to you. You know, I'm from Wenchi.
Oh, I see.
My countryman, and it's important that this morning I sent some good morning.
Buzier's hometown.
Buzier's hometown. And also, you know,
you have not greeted Hajia.
and also, hey, Ebo Bachman and diabolism. And then quickly, you know, over last weekend we had our constituency elections. Let me use the opportunity to congratulate all elected executives, especially in the Bunu region. I'm from the Bunu region. Let me congratulate them. And quickly to this tribunal bill being passed last night and the concerns so far. I believe if you pay attention to what minority leaders said and other debates on the floor from yesterday, you could get one impression. And the impression is that there is a constitutional provision, which you made mention of, Article 126(1) AII, which is a provision on its own, which includes the regional tribunals. So if there is a bill in Parliament that seeks to integrate or establish, or if you want, Clause 4, put together another regional tribunal, it in its sense is trying to amend this provision. That's the argument we've put so far. It's INSES trying to amend this particular provision because already this regional tribunal exists on our laws. It's already in our constitution. So if there is any bill in Parliament that seeks to today set up another regional tribunal with its composition and with its functions and its jurisdiction, what it implies is that this particular provision is being amended by a bill in Parliament. And that is where the argument lies. So we are trying to draw the attention of Parliament that let's not be in haste in trying to push this thing through. Look at the shenanigans surrounding it throughout the whole night, the voting procedures. We should just take our time. We're not going anywhere with this country if we take our time to enact the proper laws without going into putting laws that will come back tomorrow to bite us in our faces. That is the concern we've raised. That's the first concern.
But on the first point, does the bill make any change to the constitutional provision?
So now, if you look at the article 1261 AII, which has already, as I indicated, talks about the regional tribunals. This new bill sets another regional tribunal. That is the condition of the bill.
I mean, but
then outlines its responsibility. If you look at...
Yeah, but why do you describe it as sets up another? Because I don't know... Currently, in fact, there's no regional tribunal that sits anywhere in the country.
But it's already in our laws.
Yes, it's in our laws.
It's in our laws.
Yes, and so
our laws are already there. So yes. I think let's get the argument right. If the laws make provisions for such regional tribunals, and we intend to put up a new bill, a new law, to set up a similar operations, what happens to the existing law in our constitution?
Yeah, but the law is not making a change, because that is what an amendment does. Amendment makes a change to the existing legal provision.
So now with the new law, what happens is that it adds up responsibilities, it adds up its scope, it adds up its jurisdiction. So what happens to the old law in our constitution? Do you get the question? So if we intend to amend the old law, we should go through the procedural processes involved in amending our constitution. That is the concern, the first concern. And I think if you listen to the trade union, the concerns they made, that there is already an ongoing constitutional review committee that is still running, right? They are not done with their work yet. Why can't we wait for them to finish with their entire process? Submit the final report on what the people of this country are saying. Before we start doing this bit by bit, piece by piece, we take where we want to push quickly, then we push it through. So that is, I think, that's some of the concerns we want to bring out to the view, to the attention of Ghanaians. And also, I think you made mention of a very important factor, the historical antecedents of such tribunals. You made mention of the PNDC Law 24 being amended to PNDC Law 74. We saw how the excesses that came into play. So these are some of the concerns that we are raising. We do not run away from legal regimes or administrative of justice in this country. What we are saying is that we all do agree that our current legal administration or justice administration is challenged, which we call as the structural challenges. These are structural challenges. It does not require setting up a parallel legal system to compete with what is already in existence. Let's resource our judiciary. Let's look at, number one, our courtrooms. How many courtrooms do we have? President Akufo-Addo constructed close to 100 of them across the country. We expected this government to have done similar. Start constructing courtrooms, equip them, provide them with modern technological infrastructures. How can you track a case in court? As a lawyer here will tell you, if he has to go through and go and look at it for a case, it will take him a week to even find what case he's looking for. So these are some of the deficiencies in our legal system or in our judiciary system that we think government should focus the effort over there, rather than putting in place a new law without looking at the structural deficiencies. There are structural deficiencies we all do agree to. Number of judges across the country, prosecutors, courtroom staffs, we do all know these challenges. Government should go down there and recruit more people to help us with our speedy trials in our courtrooms. If not, my brother, trust me, this will come and it will set up a canker in our judicial system. One, there will be a district tribunal, right, which will include a chairperson appointed by the Chief Justice in consultation with the Judicial Council. Beyond the chairperson, there will be two other panel members, and there is no clear-cut procedure to appoint them. There's no clear-cut. They are saying that any member from the society or community can be appointed without affiliation to a political party. That was the only condition given, right? So any member, what do you mean by that? That's where the concern lies. Any member. And you see, we are trying to solve a problem of delayed justice, right? And look at this thing. You're going to put together 3 panel members. If one fails to appear on a certain day, the case does not proceed. Do you know that? We have to hold on. So we are going to cause more delays in the justice delivery in this country than we're already witnessing with the current system. So we think government, if truly the focus is to deal with the slow delays and the constant adjournment of cases, government should focus on resources our judiciary services rather than looking at how to set up a parallel justice system. Two, number one, with the fear of going to be victimized political opponents. Because if you look at the jurisdiction of the law, I think what is excluded is treason and some major offenses. Have you asked yourself what will happen to offenses like false publication? Have you asked yourself? What happened to false publication? What happened to unlawful assembly? These people will sit on it at the judiciary level. And we know how people will be victimized at that particular point. So we are only saying that we have a perfect judiciary system, which is challenged. It is perfect but challenged based on its structural architecture. Let's find a way of investing amount of resources into enhancing the structural systems of our judiciary to ensure speedy trial, to ensure fairness in justice delivery. I think if government focus on them, rather than putting up all these things to satisfy a campaign promise, because I heard some of their communicators or some of their government officials saying that and that was, I think, Eduji, let me be very honest, Eduji's made mention of it this platform Monday, that during their campaign manifesto or campaign period, they made a promise of this particular tribunal. So they are only implementing it. So I don't want it to be like we are trying to implement just a political policy. If not, they have more policies, right? The 133 policy, which is more important to the young man on the streets. They should focus on implementing such policies rather than trying to set up this kangaroo court that will ensure speedy trial of political opponents that will come into place to victimize political opponents and also violate the laws of this country. They will tell you they have safeguards in there. We've seen judgments and rulings in this country that has been questioned. So even if judgments and rulings from judges have been questioned, how much more about a panel member who we all do agree that from a society he's affiliated through external family or through external friends to a certain political club grouping? That is the fear of it. So we are only saying nobody wants constitutions to be played with, but we should follow due process. If we intend to amend this particular clause, we should go through the due process. If we want to set up this kangaroo court, let's use that resources to go back and resource our existing judiciary system, which is challenged based on its structure. If not, this same situation will happen. And last one, to end on this, the fundamental question we want to ask: where would these tribunals operate from? The same existing courtroom that is not enough to accommodate our current system? It's the same courtrooms where lawyers will plead with judges that, my lord, can we take off our gown because the place is too hot? It's the same places they're going to operate from? That is the questions we need to ask ourselves. These are fundamental issues. So if we don't resolve these problems and we set up these structures, it will be structures on paper and the effectiveness will not be realized. So we are only adding our voice to the millions of Ghanaians out there, including TUC, that we expected government to hold on this bill. Unfortunately, it's been passed through all means necessary. Look at the process it went through. They've passed it. Minority have their say, majority have their way. That happened last night. They've passed it. But we're saying that Mr. President and his people at the legal department, that's the Attorney General's department, let's resource our judiciary. Let's provide more staff. Let's provide them with the modern technology that requires legal operations. Let's ensure that courtrooms are available at every district. Let's provide furniture. You go to courtrooms and there's no furniture to sit on. It happens across this, even in Accra here, the capital of Ghana. Courtrooms are still lacking behind. That should be the focus. We're not to put together a kangaroo law just to come and set up new courts and frustrate political opponents by way of, number one, and I've made mention of it, free speech is part of their mandate, right? Go and look at it. Free speech, they will talk about unlawful assembly. All these other laws that has not been explicitly mentioned, that the scope does not capture, will be dealt with under this particular kangaroo court. And it's going to cause a lot of chaos in this country if we do not stop it at this early stage. It has been passed. It is not too late. We call on them to do everything necessary to protect the dignity of this country by ensuring that laws are not passed to satisfy the ego of political organization. Because from Eduji's statement, this is a law that has been passed at the back of a campaign promise made in 2024. There are more important promises they made. 133 is still lying down. It has not been touched. Women's Development Bank is still lying down. It has not been touched. These are the policies and promises we expect them to implement with speed. With speed. Not laws that will come and frustrate your political opponent with speed. Look at how they passed this law with the speed of light. If they had used that same speed of light to implement their 133, I believe the National Development Planning Commission will not say that our microeconomic growth does not correlate with job creation in this country. These are the major bread and butter issues we expect to hear from them, but not to set up parallel courts to compete with our perfectly working existing legal systems, which is only challenged by its structural deficiency by way of providing resources. Government can provide enough money if government wants to do anything to improve our justice delivery in this country. If government provide resources and enable, we strengthen our current legal systems, justice will be delivered with fairness, with speed and accuracy. If that is not done, we will still come back here after 2 years of this particular kangaroo court, and we'll keep referring to it as a kangaroo court because it is only coming in place to satisfy some egos of this administration, and it will not help our democracy, and it will not help our rule of law. Thank you very much, my brother.
All right, I'll come to some of the issues you've raised a bit later, but let me come to Leonard here. And Austin, first question, do you agree that from the bill you've seen, it seeks to amend the Constitution? Do you agree with that point, briefly on that point?
Honestly, I don't see that. I don't think this contradicts in any way Article 126. It's because when you read the suggested, which is now the Section 4, you will know that it references Article 126.
Yes.
That is to tell you that it is giving recognition to the provision of Article 126, which gives life or blood to the regional tribunal. So I don't think it is in a way amending Article 126 because there is no wording from the provision that suggests that it is amending that provision. Okay. So I don't see that.
Now secondly, what's the hue and cry about? I mean, the Constitution foresees this being done. I mean, so if there are any concerns, it should be targeted at what we are doing under the constitutional review process to take it off. I mean, government is simply, in fact, there is even a possibility of someone even complaining or taking action that why are we not activating the regional tribunal? I want to appear before regional tribunal. It's not there. I mean, why are we concerned with the document you've seen?
Joseph, very important. I've heard the concerns of the minority, and honestly, I must say they have genuine concerns. And I've also listened to my brother Far. In fact, his commentaries are not further away from what others have also. Some non-aligned Ghanaians have also suggested. And we all know that the tribunal system has been bastardized because of its past experiences. And I must say that the tribunal system itself is not bad and it's not evil, but people made it evil. So we must get the distinction clearly. And if you go outside Ghana, there are tribunals around, littered across the world. And it is so because the tribunal is just a shift away from the traditional court system, which is too technical and legalistic. So the tribunal system gives us the opportunity, the flexibility to expedite justice, where already our traditional court system are delaying the processes with cases spanning sometimes 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. It's become a major problem, Joe. So they have genuine concerns. I think the government has a lot of work to do to allay the fears and to disabuse the minds of Ghanaians. However, the government failed on this in this area because within the space of 24 hours, they passed a bill. It's not into law. Now the question is, how exhaustive was the consultation process? Because already we have people in the society, some who are not members of the New Patriotic Party, who have genuine concerns, whose parents or families may have suffered in the hands of the tribunal or the panel in the past. These people, we needed to have allayed their fears, disabuse their minds, and let them know that we are putting in place some mechanisms to address the excesses of the past. But, merely because the tribunal system was bastardized in the past is not sufficient justification to say that we should not reintroduce it or revive it. So, even though I agree that the minority has genuine concern, I think we are stretching the argument too thin. We must understand, as you were articulated, Article 126 already creates the regional tribunals. And it gives further powers to Parliament to expand the lower court system. So I see the district tribunal as an expansion of the powers or expansion of the court system which the Constitution itself suggested. My issue is that the conversation should not be about the past incidents or the past experiences, which I suggested that the government could have done a lot to through public education to allay the fears. But we should rather discuss the suggested provisions, which are now law. I have grave issues with the tribunal bill, which has been passed. Because at a point, it gives concurrent jurisdiction.
Clause 19.
It gives concurrent jurisdiction to both the circuit court and the district tribunal. This is dangerous.
That's far out.
Beyond forum shopping, we are going to set ourselves for inconsistent application of the law. Now people will be deciding that instead of going to the traditional court system, the circuit court, I'll go to the district tribunal. Why? Because it is flexible. You don't do that, else you are trying to choke justice delivery in the system. And again, it must be made clear that no court can have concurrent jurisdiction with the High Court. The Constitution is clear. When you look at Article 140, the High Court has jurisdiction in all matters, which is why the Constitution cleverly, in creating the regional tribunal, gave it specific mandates. So if you go ahead and say that the regional tribunal will have concurrent jurisdiction with the High Court on criminal matters, then later you say they can try certain cases, you are setting yourself or putting yourself in danger. And I'm saying that this bill was rushed. The government could have taken their time, allow public debate to fester, take in suggestions, and better the bill. And again, you create a tribunal oversight committee as a committee under the Judicial Council. Then you look at the membership of the tribunal. Why wouldn't you tell the Judicial Council, as it is presently considered, to set up a committee to be in charge? I'm seeing a battle for relevance and a battle for authority between the Tribunal Oversight Committee as created and the Judicial Council. We have grave issues, and and that is what I wanted the minority leader to rally his people to look at the proposed bills one after the other so that we can better the system. The issue has nothing to do with the past experiences. It's been there. We all have a responsibility to do. And in fact, you must understand that this bill, if the regional or the district tribunals are constituted, your party, when it comes to power, may have an opportunity to also appoint people onto the panel. So the argument should be that, how do we make it better?
Excellent.
It's not about the past experience. I'm saying that there are genuine concerns, but we cannot continue to repeat past experiences as justification to consign the regional or district tribunal to the past. That justification is no longer tenable. We all want justice. The Constitution has already given life blood to regional tribunals and given mandate and powers to Parliament to expand the lower court. I see this suggestion this work by the government as one in the right direction. But we must address major issues. The concurrent jurisdiction should never happen because the district tribunal should not have concurrent jurisdiction with the circuit court. And again, when you read the proposed, which is now section 22, it says where there's a conflict between the jurisdiction of the tribunal.
The tribunal proceeds unless otherwise directed by the Chief Justice.
Dangerous. Very dangerous. What are you trying to do? You are elevating a tribunal over a traditional court system that has been there for years.
Yeah, but that's the problem if you describe it as a traditional court system. Because the Constitution provides...
as part of it.
Yes, so if you say it that way, it creates the impression that you are bringing something that we don't foresee. It foresees it.
The argument is valid because the tribunal system does not have a standing jurisprudence. There's no jurisprudence. The jurisprudence we can lay claim to are the things that people are complaining that they remind them of past things, of negative things, of evil. So they have no established jurisprudence.
But are there not enough safeguards? So, for instance, I think the main concern, and I mean, people on the streets have expressed it, maybe it would be nice around the table that they'll populate it with politically affiliated people. But let's look at the appointment process. Okay. So if you pick the regional tribunal, the chairman is appointed by the president acting on the advice of the Judicial Council. Very similar to how High Court judges are appointed, basically. Now, in respect of the members, the Chief Justice shall, acting in consultation with the Regional Coordinating Council for a region, and on the advice of the Judicial Council, appoint the panel members of a regional tribunal. I mean, should that not put us at ease that, unless we are suggesting that a Chief Justice will be appointing politically minded people to fill up, I don't think it's a conclusion that will boldly be suggesting for our Lord the Chief Justice.
No, I've heard people, in fact, let me commend the Attorney General and the government largely, because this is a good attempt to douse the fears of many people by putting in place some of these recommendations. But are they enough safeguards? They are not.
Why so?
Because I've told you, beyond the appointments, there are other things. You are giving jurisdiction, which I complained earlier. So this appointment is not enough safeguard. It is one of the safeguards that the government had introduced, which I commend them partly because, and it deals with the issues of appointments. And to say that we will not appoint politically minded people or people who are politically tainted, that is okay. But that is one aspect of the conversation. Though, let us use that or recount that as the most important thing that can help us to safeguard the system. It is not. And I'm saying that the safeguards in the act itself are themselves not safe. The safeguards themselves are not safe because of the jurisdictional issues and oversight issues.
On the jurisdictional issue, is your concern, do you have the same concern too about the regional tribunal having coordinated jurisdiction with the High Court?
Very important. I have issues with that. Because I'm saying that the Constitution says the High Court has jurisdiction in all matters. But the Constitution itself created the regional tribunal and gave it specific jurisdiction. So if you are saying that, and when you read the bill, which is now law, it says the regional tribunal shall have concurrent jurisdiction with the High Court on all criminal matters. All criminal matters. The word is all. Do you understand? You are setting the regional tribunal in conflict with the Constitution. All criminal matters. When the Constitution has given the regional tribunal specific mandates, I think the government punched beyond their powers. Or let me say, the Attorney General punched beyond the powers. And you were articulated. We are just trying to create confusions and we'll saddle ourselves with suits, seeking constitutional interpretation and other things. When we could have refined this bill. Let me tell you, Joe, this is a fine idea. I support the government on this. I have said time with Andama that we needed to have introduced or we needed to revamp the tribunal system. I have no issues with that. We deal with the past experiences, douse people's fears, allay their fears, disabuse their minds, and tell them that we are putting enough safeguards. But I'm saying that the safeguards in the law itself, the safeguards are not safe themselves. So we needed to have listened carefully and getting suggestions, amend certain provisions. Concurrent jurisdiction, very dangerous. Creating an oversight.
Yeah, but, just to saddle back a bit on your point about the jurisdiction in respect of the regional tribunals. Yes. I mean, the Constitution under Article 143, jurisdiction of regional tribunals, it says the regional tribunals shall have jurisdiction to try such offences against the state and the public interest as Parliament may by law prescribe.
Exactly.
So the counter argument to your point will be that that's what Parliament has basically done. In fact, if you look at the Courts Act, if the current law basically reproduces what is provided in the Courts Act for the offences. And before I move on, I'll run you through the full list of the offences. But that should cure it.
No, it doesn't.
How does it not?
Because it says, and such other offences. So create the offences that the regional tribunal should preside over. Don't say all criminal matters. Yo, I'm just trying to distill what the Constitution said or says and what the current law is saying. This current law is giving the regional tribunal a free pass. Loading.
I mean, that's what the Constitution does. It says such offences.
Such offences.
So what are the such offences? They have to be existing offences. It adds the end. So such offences against the state and the public interest as Parliament may by law prescribe.
Exactly. So specify the offences. That's what the Constitution is saying.
Yeah, but those offenses have been specified.
No, so he's saying, so the Constitution is giving further powers to Parliament to expand the jurisdiction of the regional tribunal, not to give it a free pass to go on the street and load people. Accra, then you load in Tama, then you load Dakra, then you load in everybody. You load everybody. When you have, so you see, okay. The Constitution is saying that give the regional tribunal a destination. Don't give it free bus. Where you have Tema, people going to Tema, people going to Tamale, okay. People going to Koforidua, okay. In the same bus. That is not what the Constitution contemplates.
All right. Let me come to Mr. Fuseni there. And there's a part of the bill, in fact, the memorandum that talks about the main reason why, beyond everything that has been recounted, there's a part that talks about effective justice administration as one of the reasons why this law is being passed. It says it underscores the necessity of the bill to give effect to the true spirit of the Constitution while ensuring protection of the rights of the citizens. It also talks about the fact that there are challenges with the current system. Justice delivery is not effective, it's not fast, it does not deal with matters quickly. And if you talk to most lawyers who practice in the courts, they will tell you that making justice administration effective is not a function of necessarily creating more courts, so to speak. Yeah. In fact, they will tell you that if you add on one more courtroom, you are creating a solution than creating another courtroom that may sit elsewhere necessarily. And an example that I've made reference to quite recently, and I'm sure you've encountered it. The Chief Justice started the 2 cycle of the courts, the morning and the afternoon. Yeah. And I have made a point that, and I've even told some colleagues that I was even thinking about writing on that. You go to the courts these days, you can go into a courtroom, and the cases for the day, the morning, is just like 6. 6. At first, just the morning, you could have like 20, 25. You have 6. So the afternoon judge comes and takes on maybe 7 or 8. So that clearly is a solution that has gone a step further. So there are other, and if the bottlenecks exist structurally such that, do we need to activate all of this to address them?
Joe, thank you very much, and thank you to your team for having me, and good morning to our cherished viewers. First of all, let me put in an announcement. I think this tribunal chaos is dousing a very good step that this government has taken. First of all, the almighty Achimota Forest has been saved. We have reclassified it.
Very fantastic.
No, the one that people were willing to their children and relatives.
If you didn't pass the bill in the dead of the night, we'll be discussing that. That's just by the way.
It's a very good information. So, Ghanaians must know 361 acres of the Achimota Forest has been preserved and saved by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama through the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. And then one other misinformation that I need to help you educate Kofi Tonto. No money has been spent on the Kumasi Expressway. There is no 11 billion cedis that has been spent.
It has been earmarked for the construction.
Yes.
And there are some works on going.
Yes, so it has not been spent. It has not been spent.
Just allow him to go. Yes, I mean, I've seen, I'm coming. The claim was it has been spent. I've seen the statement from the controller or the accountant.
That money has not been spent. So those information should be told. Yes, so correct. My brother, His Excellency, former president, started this one district, one court project. As I speak to you now, my own former district, Central Front Plains, I think we benefited from one. But before that court was put up, I built a court myself.
As MC?
Yes, as a DCE. We built one, and we're in the process of, because the judiciary normally wants a safe bungalow for the judge. But as I speak to you today, we have 33 districts without a court. Do you understand? Even though we say we're doing one district, one court, there are still 33 districts without a court.
What are you doing about it?
Oh, bro. You see...
Please go on.
So, our current judiciary is a bit handicapped. We've all agreed on that. But what is the greatest threat Ghanaians face And how are we trying to deal with that particular threat? It is the threat of the environment and sanitation. So we are crying about Galamsey, we are crying about sanitation now. And the NDC during its time, during its campaign decided that, listen, if some of these environmental cases that we are dealing with take so long at the court system, why don't we revive the district tribunals and the regional tribunals to deal with such cases so that we can expedite actions on it? Now, Joe, what does the district tribunals, per the constitution, what do they deal with? So that what my brother's fears were.
The regional.
No, let's start from the district so that we all understand. Okay. The district cases dealt with petty thefts, assaults, affray offensive conducts, and minor fraud. So those cutting people's plantain, those stealing people's fowls in the community, the tribunal deals with those things. These are not things you take to the traditional courts to go and waste the judge's time because somebody has stolen plantain or cassava. So the district tribunals deals with these things quickly because the person has got to cut the plantain. There is evidence that they caught him still cutting the plantain. So why do we have to wait until we go and get a lawyer, go and get a prosecutor who is also busy in another court? That is one. Two, they deal with debt recovery, rent disputes, claim damages of up to certain amounts, and then breach of tax, and then customs. That is where the most important one for me. Now we are losing most of our communal spirits in most of our communities, except the rural areas that still do communal labor. Most of the towns are losing the communal spirit. And like there is no court that has time to deal with somebody because he didn't attend communal labor. The district tribunals deals with people who don't attend communal labor. So all those ones are breach of tax, customs, and other revenue laws. And then some cases, some of them also deal with juvenile delinquents activities. Those are for the districts. So I don't see how some of these things go or interferes with the traditional court systems, because these are things that are affecting the communities directly, and they want things like they want enforcement of laws or they want punishment meted out to them quickly. So the tribunal comes in, and I'm happy Braco Powers corrected my people because they have a way of misinforming everybody. The law is not being amended, nothing new is being introduced. The thing is there, it looks redundant, it's just being revived. So I don't see anything new, but let's also, yes, I understand that maybe the stakeholder engagement may not have been exhaustive enough, but it was done. There was a stakeholder engagement. Then the part that, what is the fear? These tribunals were operating back in the days under a military regime. So in the military regime, there was that fear of once the chairman has appointed people, there was no, excuse me to say, there was that fear that you can't even challenge what is being done. Now we want it to operate under a democratically elected president or a constitutional regime that we want. Why don't we allow it to operate for us to also see the mistakes that we've made? Then, what do we call it? The Constitutional Review Committee is still working. So at least when he operates and we observe the shortfalls and we observe the outcomes, we can easily deal with it with the Constitutional Review Committee. But the moment something comes from government, all of a sudden, MPP thinks they are the target. Does that mean that all the Galamsey is being done by MPP people? All the sanitation issues are being done by MPP people. So if a tribunal is coming to chase after, district tribunals are chasing after all the thieves who are MPP thieves. All the people doing all the things in the communities are MPP people. Is that it? No. I'm happy we all say that, listen, even the fear of populating the place with political appointees or political favorites has been cured by allowing the Chief Justice, in consultation with the Judicial Council, to make the appointments. Apart from the chairman, even the chairman, the Judicial Council has an input. So at least we are doing everything possible to make sure this particular bill, at least let's have it work first. Sincerely, my brother and his people should understand that it is not every government decision that is about NPP.
Yeah, but,
sincerely.
Just a little point, not to disrupt your flow. I mean, we heard from the Trade Unions Congress as well, because you said the MPP, the Trade Union Congress.
Yes.
I mean, that's a non.
That's what I'm saying, that the truth is that they base their opposition on past experience. And I'm saying that past experience was under a military regime.
Should that not be the more reason why
that is what I'm saying,
we should not go to bed?
Yes,
wake up
they
and
have a genuine concern. They have a genuine concern. That's what I'm saying. Yes, it happened under the military, even under the military regime. We saw how it operated. They tried everything possible to appear to be fair. That is how the district tribunals and the regional tribunals were working. But then, yes, you can still say because it's under a military regime, you don't believe it was democratically done. Now we are under a democratic regime. Let's see how it operates. Will it come to curb some of the issues within our districts and communities? For me, I say yes. Because now, things will be done speedily. And now, aside that, we are even also pushing for, the Interior Minister also just laid a bill for, how do we call it, communal sentences.
Committee, I think it's been passed as well. Yeah.
So we are going to enforce a lot of community services instead of sentencing people to prison. So some of these minor offenses, why do you have to go to court to be sentenced, remand, this, that, this? So these tribunals can even enforce more of the community services than even the traditional courts. Because they are in the community with you, they are in the district with you. And everybody in the community will be there when they ask you to go and be clearing the chief's farm for 2 weeks. So they will monitor you to do it. Okay. So for me, I think it is the exigencies of the time is calling for this. We are bedeviled with a particular issue, especially our environmental cases and then the sanitation issues. Some of this particular tribunals for me, even if they concentrate on just these two, the Galamsey menace and then the environmental pollution and all those sanitation issues, for me, I think it will help a lot. And then it takes care of those 38 districts who don't even have a court now. Okay. We have a court, but we don't have a judge.
Okay.
That is our case in Central Front Place. We, as a district, can we recruit a judge?
All right. Okay. Ebo, let me come to you now. What are your... You know, it's interesting because, I mean, if you think of it either anyways, you see it's cutting across all the place. But, I mean, maybe I should start off with the question on that I asked Mr. Fuseni about how it was passed. And maybe it's a personal bias, but I have a weird problem with how governments, and it's not limited to this government, so, I mean, the past administration, there's always some law that is passed in some fast manner, like before you realize it's gone. In fact, to the extent that the Speaker of Parliament himself has started to complain about how a law was passed. He traveled small, no, he passed the LGBT. The LGBT.
So he traveled now.
He said when he thought they were coming to consider it, he went, he heard on the news that it's been passed, and he himself was even shocked. I mean, that should tell you how we go about some of these things.
I mean, to the extent that this would help us to fight corruption, I think I like its fastness. Because we don't have time to waste. We need to fight. We have a country to build. We have corruption to fight. We have poverty to eradicate or reduce, and we have an environment to protect. And so, if our conventional courts are overburdened to the point that they are unable to deliver timely, justice in relation to certain categories of cases, then it stands to reason that we have complementary legal mechanism to help the system. I mean, we all complain that our current legal system is not the best. If you really want to fight corruption, if you really want to fight galamsey, then this kind of our court, the current conventional court system we have will not help us. So the argument should not be to throw this thing away. The argument should be, how do we make it better if people have identified certain shortcomings or certain loopholes in the law? That should be the argument. But we should have it. It is something that we need. Because countries have passed laws that were not that palatable, but they were passed to solve problems. I've been talking about what Ethiopia did last year. Ethiopia passed what they call Assets Recovery Proclamation last year. And for the first time, they passed a law that has retroactive effects.
And that law will not have survived in Ghana.
Yes, I'm telling you what other countries have done in their quest to fight corruption. So they go back 10 years, and if you have acquired property and you can't justify that, even under that law, the burden of proof is not on the states, it's on the person. I got to this. This is this is the income I earn to be able to build this house. That is the extent they've gone. Because, and one thing that excites me is that when that issue came up, they said those who sponsored the bill to become law, they said corruption is a special cancer, and that needs a special treatment, a special law to deal with it. So if we know corruption is a special cancer, and we are all complaining that one case will go to court and travel 8 years, 6 years, 7 years. And so people end up going scot-free. And there's the need for us to provide complementary legal framework that would help us to expedite action to achieve good results for the country. I think it's all well and good. It's all well and good. The same thing, Lee Kuan Yew, when he took over 1960, one of the things he sought to do was to fight corruption like never before. So they also passed a law, the Prevention of Corruption Act. Listen to the name, Prevention of Corruption Act in 1960. And what was the law? Under that law, if you're a public officer and you receive gratification, maybe in the form of a bribe or maybe some money, the law presumes that you receive the money corruptly. And therefore, the burden is so the burden, you have to prove otherwise, that the money that I received in connection with my office was not received corruptly. So you realize that countries have taken steps to fight corruption. So if this is a step you are going to take, which is also in our constitution, I think we should applaud the government for taking this bold step. You see, the reason being that this government knows they are not going to be in office forever. But they've passed this law, which means if they find themselves in opposition some years to come, this law will apply to them. It shows commitment. That is why we need to applaud the government for doing this. If people think that they've done wrong and this law will put them behind bars, so be it. As I said, we need the country to build, my brother. People, you see, our poverty situation, whether we like it or not, our poverty situation is a natural concomitant of corruption. Corruption. Simply put, we are poor largely because of corruption. So if you are dealing with something that has made you poor, you don't deal with kid gloves. You attack it with force and aggression. That is why I support this tribunal thing. In fact, I'm happy they quickly passed it. You should quickly implement it and get quicker results. Okay. And that is what we need as a nation. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So if it's going to help us to fight this galamsey menace and also to fight corruption, I'm all for it.
All right. Fad, you made some points when Hussein was talking. Briefly, go to them. Then
you see, there is this famous legal phrase, the lawyers can help us, that the more the laws, the less there is this famous phrase used in describing bad laws. Right. And I think we can also have a quick memory on what Satoshi Kata said some time ago in the past, when this law was passed, causing financial loss. You remember that law? He said it was unconstitutional, it was a bad law. You see, we've had laws being passed and being described as bad laws. Let's also understand
it. Dealing with the
please, let me.
Fast track high courts.
No, please, respectfully. respectfully.
No, I just need a repeat.
Please, let's allow him. I'll give you. You have just a minute.
So just a minute. You see, I believe I've made a valid point, which you agreed, that there's a structural deficiency in our judicial system. Let's address it. We can address it by putting infrastructures in place. Honorable Hussein said in his district there is a court, there is no judge. It is the responsibility of government to get out the Judicial Council to employ a judge to go over there. So what are they doing? That is what we are calling on government to do. So with all these shenanigans, and let me also put it on record, this is not something coming to intimidate the New Patriotic Party. It is a Ghanaian problem. That's why TUC had a voice in there. So we also see.
But this current TUC has been so political. This current TUC.
Please let's allow Fad. Please let's allow.
That's a very unbiased.
No, that is true.
Please, let's allow Fad.
Joe, in conclusion on this matter, laws are passed to govern society, right? If we've identified a problem, and one of the problems is that there are delays at our courts rooms, just like a lawyer indicated, that cases travels 20 years, 10 years. What causes the delays? We all agree on this table, and I think there's no disagreement on this, that some of these delays are as a result of some of the inefficiencies in the courtrooms, materials and technology that today they lack in the courtroom. We do agree to that. So let's try and see how we will invest in such operations, rather than trying to set up a parallel. And I like what my brother said, the concurrent jurisdiction of these tribunals. There will be conflict at district levels. And also on the appointment, I still emphasize, and I still repeat on this particular, on this note, that we've had judges appointed in this country, and the appointments were questioned. We had judges. Council, is that not the case? We had judges appointed to Supreme Court.
Under the MPP,
to Supreme Court.
You I'm told the MPP. Please, elections. Land on that point.
Can I land on that point? So if we've had Supreme Court judges, and I'm told yesterday there are 3 new appointments to the Supreme Court yesterday, right? New 3 appointments, making 10 in the space of 18 months. 10 in a space of 18 months. We leave them to posterity. But what I'm trying to say is that if we've had judges appointed and being questioned, how much more about a panel member who sits at the district level? And honorable, maybe you didn't get the point. The appointment of the panel members is in consultation with the regional coordinating council, who is headed by a political appointee, a regional minister.
Yes, but the appointing authority is the Chief Justice.
In consultation.
Yes.
So there is, please,
council can explain.
Consultation
can explain better. It means that effectively the appointment is done by the
consultation. Council. It's consultation.
He's just telling you I'm appointing this person.
So we are worried that it will not be used as a political tool by this government, because just like you said, with the speed at which it was passed, look at the speed of light. We went to bed and early morning, there's a new law.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's very good for the country.
I mean, Austin, I'll give you some, you can have a take on any of the issues that have come up
very good.
so far.
I think going through the bill, I'm not convinced that we will get expedited. We will get expedited trial.
That will not be achieved.
Because if you look at it carefully, apart from only offences under the Minerals and Mining Act, where the law now prescribes 42 days, the others, there are no timelines. So I'm just trying to say I just don't see how we'll get expedited. I thought they would have reduced the number of days and made it express, as it was done for the offences under Minerals and Mining Act, so that they will know that this time around justice will be done. But I shudder to say that we are going to have ourselves, or we are going to saddle ourselves with another system that will also take more years to try a matter. Because I've gone through the bill, which is
not seen anything that is.
There is no. I mean, because the government says in fact, one of the reasons they cited is effective and expedited justice, but I don't see that in the current law.
All right,
but that can also be achieved because the burden is now reduced.
Reduced, yes. In fact, I made reference to
the burden on the conventional court are now reduced, so now they can have
timeline. Let's have timeline. No, the thing is that
my argument has always been that you should have law in this country
that no case should travel beyond 1 year. You should have a law like that. Yeah.
You see,
No corruption, especially if they involve politicians.
Coincidentally, the community service bill has also just been laid. And I described to you some of the things that the district tribunals are going to do. Even some of the cases that the regional tribunals are also going to sit on. They are not so, they are just a step above the district courts, tribunals. So now that we've passed the, how do we call it, the community service bill, I believe that even you are not just even waiting for things to even go for remand. With the tribunals, immediately they sit on the cases, they pass, how do you call it, judgment. So,
okay.
By the time they finish,
it's given for appeal.
Okay.
Yes, by the time they finish, it is not going to be you are sentenced to Nsawam or anything. No. If it is theft, because you have gone to steal, you are cleaning the gutters for 2 weeks. Go. That's it. They are finished. Do you get the point? So for me, I'm happy this bill is coming on the backdrop of the community service also bill being passed. So there will be an effective delivery of justice for us. You see, for me, we all know the technicalities in the traditional court. Even a lawyer can even push for postponement of how do we call it? Judgment. Is that not it?
Yeah, they say they have emotional and psychological
problems. So defer judgment
they
to this particular day.
You can't continue with the case.
You cannot do that in a tribunal. So for me, yes, let me, Bracco Powers, I believe that the tribunals will give us effective and speedily justice delivery, especially for me, I'm happy at the district level. Because like I said earlier on, we have 38 districts now who don't even have, 33 districts who don't even have a functioning court. So it means they have to always push their cases to adjoining or other districts. How effective are those ones for them?
Okay.
So for me, as for the justice delivery, there will be speed, it will be timely. All we all need to do is that people like Bracco Powers and the rest should all look at its implementation.
Okay.
How effective is it? We should critique it.
I mean, there's no way national service scandal should travel 1 year, 2 years. I mean, see, that's why I'm for this tribunal thing. I mean, ghost names. The figures are there. Everything is there. They should travel. Then they would defer. They would try. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Within some few months, we are done. That is the way we should go.
All right.
That's why I'm for this tribunal. I think, you see, you should rather commend the government for doing this.
Okay.
Like you
comment the government for doing this.
All right. So that is it for this discussion. We read some messages. Musa Bato and Asawasi, you say that you agree with Mr. Donko. The purpose of establishing the tribunal is to ensure speedy justice. So there should be no reason for opposition to cry out loud. You sent that message. Prince Henry Kufuor, you say that so should the MPP oppose everything in this country under NDC government led by President John Dramani Mahama? We can do some more messages. Leonard, one thing that stresses me out in the courts is when you have to talk and they are typing. And for some of us, the fast talkers, oh goodness, sometimes the clerks just give up and they say that, oh, they can't because
I agree that there should be some infrastructure in the
I mean, we all hope that it comes with that advanced technology. Because I don't think in all jurisdictions it's done that way where the one step and it's
so they still write and type.
Yes, even at the Supreme Court, the judges write with pens. They write on their own. The judges take the presiding judge takes their own
but they are also scared that somebody can say the AI misinterpreted what I said.
Yeah, I mean,
so that's why they are still typing and
but it makes it some way. But let's do some more messages on the screen now. There's some more messages here. It says, so the MPP knows there's courtrooms without infrastructure and they spent over $100 million on digging the most expensive pit in the world. Hypocrites. Thompson, Abukobi, you sent that one. Akabli, I think politicians think we the public are fools. Those in opposition to the tribunal law are thieves who want the status quo to remain. We all see what Wuntumi and the lawyers are doing. Okay, those are accusations. They are still in court. Let's wait for that. But Chris in Tama, you sent that. Good morning, Blay. It's quite funny when people
give excuses like because of the past experience, but it's absurd when we were colonized by the West. But in everything, we go back to the same colonizers seeking help from them. Why not we, the people, then say because of past experiences, we will not ever go back to the Western for anything. It's just the MPP people making noise because they know their bad deeds and it's going to catch up with them. Thank you. That is coming from Sparks from Airport. Good morning. This is the big issue. Okay, you are listening to the program every day. The man in the smoke has done it, or anybody who is not satisfied is just refusing to do so. Who's wearing the smoke? There are two smokes here. You
read it to the end, you know that we don't.
Kweku from La Paz, you said that the tribunals are practiced in America and Europe. This is Benjamin from Medina. Good morning to all Ghanaians. The tribunal bill passed by Parliament is excellently excellent. President Kufuor used to do it. You're referring to the fast track courts. It was good then and very good in 2026. We have corruption to fight. That bill must be passed. This tribunal okay. The MPP just wants justice to be delayed. So when they come to power, their corrupt officials will be freed. And another one here, I don't know why Ghana lawyers interpret the constitution the same way the Ghana pastors interpret the Bible. Now, what's the law? They said you interpret the constitution like the Bible. Just say, so okay. So that is it by way of this discussion. That's it by way of this discussion. Just briefly, we'll deal with the issue of Galamsey. And the story is that the National Security has imposed a 1-month mining ban in Joabin. The National Security Secretariat in Ashanti Region has imposed a 1-month ban on all mining activities and the movement of excavators within the Joabin municipality as part of efforts to combat illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, and facilitate land reclamation. The directive takes effect throughout the month of July. It was announced by the Deputy Ashanti Regional Security Coordinator, Alhaji Niji Abdallah Umar, after Inji. After an inspection tour of some mining sites across the municipalities. According to him, the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council has resolved that a period should be dedicated to reclaiming lands degraded by mining activities and restored affected water bodies as well. And I mean, this is, you say it's a good move, but also should tell us that mining is still actively going on in different parts of the country.
Of course, this is just one part of the country. and you see, we can't fight this Galamsey fight successfully with periodic operations, just periodic operations alone. We need sustained operations, sustained enforcement. We need political will. I mean, we need structural reforms. You see, until you put in place a plan that would divert the energy of these young guys from, Galamsey to legal mining, it will be difficult for us to fight Galamsey successfully. So long as we have the gold there and people are unemployed, people are hungry, they will mine. They will find a way to mine. So the focus should be, how do we mine without destroying our water bodies? How do we mine without destroying our forest and soil? That is why I believe that where you've gotten to, it shouldn't only be the security agencies or the security institutions that will be deployed to fight the Galamsey. Our scientists should be able to tell us. Elsewhere, they are doing mining. China is doing mining. China, they produce more gold than Ghana. If you go to Australia, Canada, they all produce more gold than Ghana. Yet you don't hear of Galamsey. How do they do it? In such a way that the water bodies are still clean, they are not destroying their forests and all that. Our scientists should be able to, environmental scientists, the mining engineers, and they should be able to tell us that we can do A, B, C, D without destroying our water bodies, without destroying our soil, without destroying our forests. Yet we can mine. Because as for we need a gold to cushion the economy. But how do we do it? See, I believe, I've always said it, that I believe the person who made remote control at a point in time was feeling lazy to wake up every day to go and put on a television and also to put it off. So because of that, let me do something so that I can be in my bed and put it off and on. I'm saying this to say that when problems come, that is when our scientists must show what they are made up of.
Okay.
Are you getting it?
All right.
So chasing them, banning them, you see, yes, they can work to some extent. But if you really want to solve the problem, you should have alternative way of mining that will not destroy our environment and our soil.
Fad.
I don't know why Ebo is struggling to admit that Galamsey has gotten to a certain level that is becoming more threatening than before. You find it very difficult to... respectfully.
Respectfully. You mentioned my name, and why have you respectfully?
Okay, please let's allow you.
Watching.
Ebo, let's allow you. Let's allow you.
I find it very difficult. Ebo cannot acknowledge and admit that Galamsey is getting out of hand. That's the reality. It's getting out of hand. And permit me, I'm from Bunu region, right? Bui Dam is one of our power infrastructure in this country. As we speak currently, the dam is under threat as a result of Galamsey activities in the Bono region. And the Bono regional minister seems to be unbothered about what is happening there. The Minister for Local Government, Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim's constituency, that's the Banda constituency, that is his constituency, and it is happening. And the minister seems to not to be concerned about all these activities. And it's not only the Bono region, it's across the country. I think we've all come to admit and accepted that Galamsey was not a certain party's problem. It was a national problem that we need to deal with it in a nationalistic way. However, in the past, a certain political party was made to believe that they were the godfathers of Galamsey in this country. So respectfully.
Are you afraid to mention
okay, don't do this to me. Now that political party is in opposition. So one would have expected that Galamsey ended on the 7th January 2025. That's what one would have expected. But unfortunately, I had the opportunity to join Miracles Abuaje somewhere last year when we visited Kweyako treatment plants. We saw the devastation over there. We visited some other areas. And we can tell you that what is happening in the Ashanti region, as the 1 month ban, is not enough. It's not enough. I think government should come back again. This is within a certain region. Government should have a national plan on the fight against Galamsey.
Okay.
We are not against Galamsey. Sorry, we are not against small-scale mining, but we are against Galamsey. And the reason is that where the fear lies is this. You remember when President Muhammad met the Christian Council somewhere last year, and he was giving some accounts to them, indicating that so far we've done close to $8 billion of gold exports, which includes Galamsey gold. He said this. This embodies the Galamseyers that if government is ready to buy our gold, we also mine more. Okay. Government should put in place systems through its gold mechanisms, that's the gold board, to identify such illegal goods, flush it out, and deal with it separately. Okay. I believe it will have some kind of discouragement within the space. If not, my brother, the kind of activities, the gold mining activities going down there, see, it is ×4 what was happening some years ago. And okay, if we don't deal with it, just like they told us that we will import water in this country, that case still exists. Okay. If we don't deal with it, we will still import water in this country.
Leonard. In fact, I see this decision as a very dangerous one. It's a dangerous precedent because it is a blanket decision. And I'm asking myself, what happens to those who have the legal permit to mine? Because the report did not suggest that this is going to be implemented discriminatorily, particularly to target only illegal miners. But it is a blanket decision. I see, and it's a very dangerous one, because people have legal permit to mine. What you are doing is you are preventing them from working, and that is something that the Regional Security Coordinating Council should have adverted their mines. Okay. Because it's but beyond that, we are still dealing with Galamsey. We are not yet out of the woods. And remember the interministerial, is it 9 months or so? They promised that they will give us periodic updates. What happened to the updates? Why are they not telling us? All that we know is that you see some clashes in certain communities, you see NAMO's task force attack here and there. They should keep us in the know.
Okay.
Tell us what is happening.
All right.
You get it. And I also want the president, he promised that it was not his meeting, he met them twice. Yeah. He has had so far 2 meetings. And he told us it was not going to be one-off. Let us have maybe quarterly updates on the Galamsey situation so that we can deal with this holistically as a whole.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Hussein, I'll give you the final word.
Galamsey, at least for now, there is no forest in Ghana called the presidential forest. Almost all the presidential forests have been reclaimed.
So you mean Galamsey has been
deregulated? I'm not the one saying it.
Please, let's allow him very limited time, please.
There is no presidential forest anymore. All the forests that were being invaded in the western region that were no-go area, even for Forest Commission and even the security services, now there is no forest that is a no-go area. They've all been reclaimed. At least, now there is that impudence of doing Galamsey openly is no more there.
Hey,
Fahad, let me speak.
Oh,
you see, if you look at the geography of Joabin, you might think it is the small Joabin when you branch at Anita Hotel and you are going to Ejiso, that is the Joabin. No, it extends from Nobuam all the way to Bomfa Junction. It even crosses Bomfa Junction. So all the way towards Konongo, it shares borders with the...
You know your geography.
So when you are coming from Accra, all the Galamsey you see on that stretch is within the Joabin Municipal Assembly.
So it's happening on the stretch.
So please. So for me, okay. I think that the Security Council in Ashanti region should not do this from the RCC. They should do it in tandem with the Joabin Hene and the Municipal Assembly. They should task the Municipal Assembly to enforce this. It will not happen. But if they sit in the RCC and give this law and expect the RCC to enforce it, it will fail.
No problem. All right, sure. So that's all time would allow us this morning. Just before we go, some other messages. Landlord, Borga D-line. You say that the most expression used in the most used expression in 2025 through till now. 1, table 10. Number 2. Number 2. It says number 2. Tomorrow is pregnant.
Give time some time.
Landlord, okay, I've heard you. Landlord, I've heard you.
Give time some time.
So we'll take a quick break. Before we do so, my guest this morning have been Austin Bracco Powers. Austin Bracco Powers is a legal practitioner. Thank you so much for joining us. Ebo Backman, Deputy Communications Director, United Party, is also with us.
He's contesting.
I'll come to you. Donko Fuseni is Deputy Director General National Service Secretariat in charge of operations.
No, FNA.
Finance and Administration. I'm sorry about that.
This week I picked my forms to contest for the Bono Regional.
But is someone contesting you?
Yeah, we are 2 so far. But then that's politics for you.
It's not politics. Let the person step down. No, it's not politics.
We are asking the person to step down from here.
I feel my
from this table
today to run for the Bono Regional Communications Officer.
You just have an unfortunate chairman.
I take strong exception. I take strong exception.
There's something Ebo says.
Thank you very much.
Ebo says around the table all the time. He says for your internal elections, we'll support you. So we wish you very well. Five Osman, the NPP National Communications Team member, contesting for the Bono Region Communications Officer of the New Patriotic Party. Thank you for joining us. Big Issue, as always, is sponsored by the University of Gold Coast. And whether you are aiming for a specialist MBA in marketing, communication, operations, supply chain, human resource management, finance, entrepreneurship, innovation, or business intelligence analytics, or you want to advance through our dual MBA or chartered manager MBA, University Gold Coast gives you options that match your vision. And if your next step is an MSc in international relations, communication, international marketing, international law, security diplomacy, accounting, finance or human resource management, an LLM in international security law, security diplomacy, one MA in biblical studies, practical theology. The pathway is open. You can apply today because at University of Gold Coast, we make it practical, flexible learning, flexible entry and flexible payment. You can study around your work and life and choose a route that fits your background and pay in convenient installments. Your dream deserves structure. Your future deserves strategy. Your purpose deserves training. You can apply now at www.ugc.edu.gh or you can call or WhatsApp us on 026 388 8555. University of Gold Coast, building leaders for the nations. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll tell you about how Lionel Messi will be winning the World Cup or Lamine Yamal. Either way, the Ronaldo fans will cry. The Ronaldo fans will cry. Ninth one. We'll be right back.